going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I am your host, Nick, joined by the household. We're finally back in studio. We're here. We're back. We're back in LA. How's everyone doing?
Fantastic.
What'd you say?
I said, thank God.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like 2 weeks is a long time to travel.
It is.
Like, that's really, I'm like, after 2 weeks, I'm like, I can't go another second.
Don't you just
gotta
like
be
miss
home.
your bed?
I
Like
do.
all the things would be
Well, baby, we
normally where
have-
you have
Yes.
them.
We have the Helix mattress at the lake, which is home.
No, totally. But it's just like, it's harder to travel with a kid when you don't have like her little bathtub and her high chair and her this and that. It's like, we're struggling.
You're roughing it.
We were. I was like, she is just, when she's off her game, we're off our game, I feel like. And when we were traveling, she was like, I'm not eating eggs like when someone holds me. Like, I need to be in my high chair.
Wait, she's eating.
I need to be in my high chair.
She's eating real eggs now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she eats eggs.
Do you have to like mush it up for her? Or is it just scrambled?
We like
Just
scramble them.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cute.
So it's pretty good for a baby with no teeth. Like, she's a chewer.
Are you doing a regular scramble or a soft scramble?
I think it's definitely more of a soft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, really?
But a hard scram.
I mean, they're fully cooked eggs, for sure.
Yeah. Well, soft scramble is fully cooked.
It's fully
No,
cooked.
not
It's
really.
just soft.
A soft scramble is kind of
Liquidy.
A
a
little
little
watery.
soft. It's a little like
I
uncooked. It's
mean-
there's like an egg over easy.
Right.
Definitely not.
Maybe I'm just soft scrambling wrong.
Maybe I am too.
Yeah.
But when I look at them, I'm like, that looks soft.
Can you put salt and pepper on it, or is it because she's a baby?
No.
Yeah,
It's-
no, it's
No.
plain.
So she doesn't know yet.
She doesn't even know. But we do, whenever we will like make vegetables, like I'll obviously save them and give them to her the next day. And when she eats that broccoli, she's like, she is sucking that
she likes
salt off
it.
of it. Loves. But like, of course.
Anyways, we are back. We're ready to go. Lots to get into. We got Elizabeth Wagmeister from CNN joining us in a little bit to go over all things Diddy. That case is wild. More and more information comes out every day. Plus, we'll break down the Golden Bachelorette with Elizabeth. It'll be nice to have Elizabeth back to do a kind of OG Bachelor recap. Obviously, Elizabeth has been recapping The Bachelor for us for some time. She actually was the first one to interview Joan after she was announced as The Bachelorette. And then we'll get into Salt Lake City. We are also in episode 2. They just can't get enough of us over in Salt Lake City.
You guys are
Oh, great.
honorary snowflake holders.
Are we?
I
I
at
feel
this
like we
point,
are.
you guys are characters
Like a
in the
friend
show.
of, kind of.
We're
Friend
definitely a
of.
friend of.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Working for the snowflake.
We're trying.
Yeah. Speaking of the podcast, we did drop Whitney Rose's episode, the podcast, yesterday, a special, if you will. Whether you did listen to it already or you haven't, refresh your memory because apparently the entire season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is based off of Whitney talking shit about Lisa on the podcast, which is an episode of Going Deeper that we recorded with her, I don't know, like right after the season last year?
Like months,
Anyways.
like 4, 5, 6.
Anyways, refresh your memory. It is available. It's out now. It's right there in that feed.
We also made merch of the podcast.
And we also made some merch. Yeah.
Merch
So if
drop.
you're dying for some The Podcast merch, go to viallfiles.com and check it out. This also be a good time to tell you that Viall Files Plus, be sure to check that out. We are recapping Vanderpump Recap. We have your update specials for all you Ask Nick fans out there as well, plus our pop extra episodes. For all the people who listen to the Viall Files on iTunes, you can sign up for Viall Files Plus directly in Apple. It's the same stuff, so there's 2 different places to sign up. If you're already a member of Viall Files Plus, just ignore, keep consuming Viall Files Plus the same way you are now. But if you do listen to the Viall Files on Apple, there's a new way, instead of just going to viallfiles.com, to sign up for Viall Files Plus. So we're just giving you guys more access to all our bonus content. So be sure to check that out. All right, what do we got going on in the real world household headlines before we get to Elizabeth?
Are you watching Dancing with the Stars? Or seeing clips at
I'm
least?
watching the dances. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
am.
What do
Yeah.
you think of Anna Delveys?
I mean, like I know she did wrong, but I find her fascinating as a character.
Okay.
You know, she's a fascinating person. I don't know. Kind of like with Shannon. It's like, I'm not the police. I'm not a judge. If they have served their time, if they are being held accountable by the people who hold people accountable, I'm just not here to
The government?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just not here to just be like to waste my energy on deciding whether I should like somehow not watch Dancing with the
Right.
Stars because Anna Delvey's on because she committed a crime. But
Yeah.
she did go to jail. She served her time. I'm gonna assume that she is trying to make amends and do better. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't have a righteous approach or POV on Anna Delvey.
Okay. Well, I bring her up because her opening dance, the cha-cha, it opened with like her kind of strutting out and then her ankle monitor being revealed behind like a Louis Vuitton bag. So like she kind of played into like the opulence of it all. That being said, when she came out, the energy of the room shifted. So people went from like clapping to like barely clapping. So then by the time she finished her first dance, Judge Carrie Ann said, I just want to say something. When you came out on the dance floor, there was a shift in energy. I would just like to say, let's all just give this a chance because I can imagine this is very scary for you. And I'm not pro, for, and against anything that you have done, but this is about dancing here. So she tried to like shift it to like, you're doing this.
I get why the audience was like, I mean, are you supposed to cheer for an ankle bracelet? It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, let's play into my felony
Yeah.
and my crime.
It's kind of iconic, but also like tone deaf.
I think wearing the ankle bracelet is like a statement in itself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we need to make it part of the dance. Like, we all can see the ankle bracelet.
yeah,
you
like
know?
if you're cheering for the ankle bracelet,
And
what are
like
you
the
cheering
Louis
for?
Vuitton, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's
She
a
did-
little tack.
She did get eliminated after like the second
Well,
round. So
yeah.
her and Tori Spelling are no longer
Oh.
dancing.
And my favorite part, when they asked her what she learned, she said nothing.
It was live. Yeah, it was, like,
Wait,
right
no.
before.
She said, what are you going to take away?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
That's real.
I mean, what would she take away?
Yeah.
Like, the audience hates me, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm bad at dancing.
I don't think she
Yeah,
liked
you
it.
have 5 seconds before we end the show. What do you have to say? It's like,
Nothing.
Wish I
kinda
could have
like-
scammed my
love
way
it.
to the top in this one.
I kind of appreciate that because, you know, coming off The Bachelor, you know, everyone likes to be like, what did you learn by going on The Bachelor? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Man, nothing.
What it's
Fuck.
like to date 25
Yeah,
people?
and people always seemed like upset by my answers if like I was supposed to have some big, and like I didn't go on The Bachelor in my mid 30s for like a life-changing experience. I went to like travel, you know.
When do you have
be on
time?
TV?
When do you have time for self-exploration when you're supposed to sit here and listen to 25 trauma dumps?
Yeah. Well, that was when I was trauma dumping.
My bad.
On the other, but I didn't really trauma dump. I mean, I was like, I got you know, whatever.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah. Do you want a trauma dump?
We can dance.
Do I? No.
Start at
The
13.
trauma dumping is a little different now. It was like more sometimes you did. It wasn't like everyone is like, get ready.
Candlelight dinner.
Yeah.
In
What
tears.
about, you know what kids are doing now?
Oh, God.
Driving their mom's cars to Target 25 minutes away to order a Starbucks Frappuccino.
Very dangerous. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's so me. I would totally do that but also like you could kill people.
Yeah.
you know?
Yourself.
Or
Can you
yourself.
blame
8
the
years old.
parents here?
They did report the car and her missing.
No. I hear that. But like, how? Maybe not. Maybe you can't blame the parents here. You know, maybe kids are just doing crazy things. But the kid must have known where the keys. Like, how does a kid go unwatched that long?
How did the kid have money for the Frappuccino?
Nobody knows. Could have been Target points. Could
Credit
have been a
card.
They didn't
stranger.
say like
Credit card stealing
Well, the
of
thing,
parents.
I think you need to pay a little more
Fraud.
attention to your kids.
Fraud.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a takeaway for the parents. Like, hey, maybe just be a little bit more hands-on here.
I mean, I stole my mom's car when I was, I think, like 14.
I
and
learned something new about you. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
14's
I didn't go to Target. I went to Zaxby's, which, if you don't know what that
Hell
is, it's kind of like
yeah.
a Cane's.
You
I was
at-
hungry.
at four.
I was hungry. And as I'm leaving the house,
dating
I
a criminal.
pass my 2 older sisters.
You're a mastermind. Wait,
I
what?
pass my 2 older sisters coming home, and we just like look at each other, and I look back, and
You were
then
driving your mom's car at 14.
and then my sisters turn around and follow me and like make me pull over, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like,
Oh,
"I wanted
okay.
Zaxby's," so I didn't actually get there.
What is Zaxby's?
Unfortunately, it's like Cane's. It's like fried chicken,
Chicken.
bread, toast, fries,
It's
They have a
delish.
sauce. You have a sauce.
a
you
Zax
like,
sauce. Yeah.
I need
Real
that
good
sauce.
Honestly, when you're around a Zaxby's, you're like, this place is disgusting. Like, who would eat here? And now that I'm away from it, I'm like, God, I would love a
Ship it
Zaxby's
out.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so yeah, I tried to. I'm shocked, honestly, it wasn't Chick-fil-A. Maybe it was Sunday.
And when you got in the car, do you remember being like, I know how to do this? Or were you like, let's see if I can drive?
I think I was like, I know enough. Like, I've driven a golf cart, you know?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Mario
think I can get
Kart.
from A to B.
I will say 14 is a vast different from 8.
Eight.
And
Yeah.
100%.
Some states, it's
It's
legal
still-
for 14-year-olds to drive, to have a learner's permit.
What state?
Really?
I'm pretty
Well,
positive.
learner's permit is different.
Like, but they can drive by themselves to school and work. My friend did that in Kansas.
I will also say, when I was 16, I was visiting my mom, and she was like, that's fine. You can take the car, drop me off at work.
You
and
didn't
I
have your
was
license?
like, no, I did,
Oh.
I think. I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure I did. And I went to Chick-fil-A, of course. And coming home, I was at a red light and accidentally like bumped into a motorcycle in front of me.
Not even another car, a
no,
motorcycle?
it was a motorcycle.
Oh,
and like everyone was,
no.
it was just like a little like tap. And we like pulled over and had to call my mom and be like, hey.
So wait, you were by yourself in the car,
Yeah.
and the person you hit, they were like, "What? How old are you?"
I was 16.
Okay.
At least he pulled over.
Yeah, and he was like,
At
listen,
least.
he was like, we won't call the
Doesn't
cops,
happen all the
but like
time.
you need to pay for this, and definitely like hiked up his price. But I'm just saying.
I was afraid of the car when I was little. Like, I thought if you turned it on as a kid, it would like blow up.
Mm,
And I don't know where I got that in my head, but I was
Probably
like,
your parents, and that's honestly good
Yeah.
parenting.
I was told that if you hit the emergency button, like the lights, that it would call 911 and they would like, and a bunch of police cars would come because I hit
honestly.
a bunch of buttons as a kid.
I think sometimes fear is a successful parenting tool for.
Oh, yeah.
or is that gaslighting?
No. I
Sure.
think honestly, like,
Sometimes gaslighting is good.
my sister, and I'll definitely like use this for River because it worked so well with my niece. She'd be like, it's time to brush your teeth. And of course, all kids are like, ew, no, I want to brush my teeth. And my sister would be like, well, there's sugar bugs on your teeth. And like, they're going to like eat your teeth away and you won't have any teeth. And my niece was like, that is so scary. Okay. So we'd always be like, the sugar bugs.
Well, in a way, like, fairy tales, for example. Fairy tales are created in a way to have life lessons for kids shown in a way that they can,
Understand.
understand,
Yeah, good
right?
point.
And like, I just think sometimes younger kids, you can't really explaining why they can and can't do things and hoping that they listen. It's just like, no, it's like you're gonna burn in hell. Kind of if you have sex when there's, it's just like, all right, I just want to do that.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably should. I don't want to. I'm definitely not going to tell River she's going to burn in hell. But I think sometimes you have to.
I'll definitely tell her she has sugar bugs on her teeth.
Yeah.
Or like if you press it, just sometimes if you just don't want them to do something, make them afraid of doing it.
It's the same thing as when a child bites you, you bite them back, right?
But
No.
That's what I was never bit by my parents, but that's what I heard you
Bite
do as a
back.
parent. You
just
bite
don't
them.
worry, guys. Justin's not a parent.
I'm not.
So you don't have to
But
worry.
like, you bite them to show them that it hurts.
No,
I
it's like
saw-
telling the kid that if you pee in the pool, it's going to turn red, and
Oh, right.
everyone's going to know you're peeing in the
Yeah.
pool, so it's like just a little bit of a lie. I don't know. Pop off in the comments if you think we're going to be terrible parents.
I saw something on TikTok and it was when kids are like hitting and like going through that kind of like aggression phase that you just say like, okay, like now show me soft hands. And they have to be like,
So show me a soft bite.
So you can be like, well, biting might be a little different.
Just a little nibble.
River she grabbed me by my throat on the airplane with
Literally.
her sharp little nails.
She
Oh, she has nails.
Yeah.
Oh my babies.
I didn't know they had
Sharpest
Babies
nails
have
ever.
razor blades.
Mm.
Even like 3 days old.
Oh, yeah,
Even our doctor was like, be careful of these babies' nails. My little sister, my Maria, my younger sister, sent my dad to the ER because she severely scratched like his like
Cornea.
cornea,
Whoa.
like as a little baby, like a 3 or 4 months old, because they have these like sharp eyes, and like River's constantly just
Sharp
like
eyes.
Sharp eyes.
sharp nails.
I file her
yeah,
nails.
it's
like
she's
I,
a
what-
weapon
what
of mass
feels-
destruction.
I file her nails what feels like every day, and they are still very,
Babies'
very
nails
sharp.
are fucking crazy.
It's like a little
Noted.
kitten.
Yeah.
They get really
Kind of like a little kitten.
yeah, babies.
Wait, how was Nashville?
It's lovely.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
Did the Packers win?
They did.
The Packers won, and you know what? It was like I was on edge because obviously, like, love my best friend, love that she's dating the quarterback, and like I was rooting for him. And so, like, every time like the Packers did something, of course, I'm like standing up and clapping, and then anytime like Will did something, I'm like clapping for him. Or like if he didn't do something good, I'm like, oh no.
I was rooting for Will.
I feel like
It
the
was
people
weird.
around us were like, what is going on with this girl? She's like decked out in Packer gear, and yet she's like cheering for the Titans.
And
Like,
even
is she
I,
okay?
when Will did something well, I was, I would have a clap. I
Little golf clap.
could root
Golf
for
clap.
Will. And it's like I wanted the Packers to win, and
I honestly kind of didn't.
which is
Yeah.
why I understood. I
Yeah.
was not offended by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a good game. Will played good. Packers played great.
Will did very well. His team, I personally, as a fan, and not to disparage the Tennessee Titans, I just feel like they didn't have their quarterbacks back. He was sacked 8 times. It was like you can only do so much. The
Mhm.
quarterback gets
Yeah.
way, it's a common thing. They get too much credit, too much blame, because the quarterback kind of comes with the job.
Did you guys go to dinner afterwards? Because like, how did that go? Like, were you like,
No,
the
we did
Packers
not.
won?
No, we definitely did not. I think we just were like, let's
It's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a tough loss.
Let's just like let people recover.
I was beaming green and gold from my win.
Yeah.
It's just like, I
It's
don't
too
know if
much.
this is. It's too
That's what I
much,
was wondering
right?
what that
Well,
looked
it's
like.
ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a great time. We
Yeah.
enjoyed the great city of Nashville. Humid as fuck.
Really?
Oh my god.
That's southern humidity for sure.
I just thought it'd be like kind of transitioning into fall.
Well,
That's
Oh,
what I
right.
thought too.
The
I was like, I
seasons?
packed so many cute little like sweaters, and it was like 90 degrees.
They said summer.
It's September.
Yeah.
Even in Wisconsin, we had the best weather at the lake. September, you get good warm weather in September. I know people expect fall, even in Wisconsin. So imagine Tennessee, 10 hours south. It's gonna be pretty warm. Yeah.
Nick did send a picture when we were doing like work texts of him in the middle of a lake and then didn't respond for like hours after. And I was like, are you lost at sea? Where are you?
Are you
No
down?
I was
response.
taking calls on the paddleboard.
That's impressive.
That's the joys of being the boss. If your job is to make decisions, you can make decisions anywhere.
Facts.
Yeah. Have a good time. All right, it's your favorite time of the week. It's time for vibes versus stats. All right, the season update. We got the vibes team a solid record of 3-3, and the stats team, yours truly, is behind.
We're kicking your butt.
We're one game behind, but cool. We're 2-4.
What did statistics ever do for anyone?
No. What games do we have on the docket this week, Mary?
This week, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the LA Chargers,
Okay.
Represent.
Ooh.
All right.
and we've got the New England Patriots at the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
Taylor
So-
Swift Chiefs.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of these teams.
Great.
too. Me
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Wow.
Vibe City today.
Vibes are kind of popping off.
Okay, let's start off with the Chiefs. We know them. We love them. Their colors, red, gold, white. Mascot, this guy named KC Wolf.
Taylor Swift.
I was gonna say Travis Kelsey.
No, it's just like he kind of looks like the rat from Chuck E. Cheese.
That's scary.
Terrifying.
Ooh,
Which
I
is
love Chuck E.
weird,
Cheese,
and I
though.
don't know how the Wolves relate to the Chiefs other than
Jail.
they call the
I've
fans
said it
the
before.
Wolf Pack.
Why is this why is a mouse a
No, it's a wolf. He just looks like
It's
a
a
rat.
wolf.
It's a wolf that looks like a rat for the Chiefs. Anyway,
I guess.
he seems like a good little guy. His
Okay.
name's
He seems like a gentleman.
KC Wolf.
Okay.
Obviously, Chiefs, very good. Have won Super Bowls 2022, 2023. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, very good. Sounds kind of like Kermit the Frog. But that's funny. Travis Kelsey.
Brother kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that. Sorry.
Okay.
No, I wasn't apologizing to you. I was apologizing to Pat.
It's
okay.
It's okay.
And then
Yeah,
Chargers,
sorry, man.
Chargers is LA, right?
Yep. Chargers is
They're-
I know that
LA.
one.
They're the second team of LA. The people of San Diego quite upset sometimes because they used to be the San Diego Chargers. They moved
Oh.
Yeah.
Sellouts.
90 miles north. I don't know if it's exactly 90
Yeah.
miles. So
Uh-huh.
most of their fan base is still, San Diego based. But when it comes to like home games,
Mhm.
sometimes it doesn't feel like a home game because
Yeah.
last week the Rams of LA played the Niners of San Francisco, and it was
Mhm.
all San Francisco fans. So
What's our stadium called?
SoFi.
SoFi.
Still
never been.
Stadium.
Oh.
Yeah, well, the thing with the Chargers is like, why? It doesn't really make any sense. They were like in San Diego and then they're here. But the thing about them is their colors, bright, fun, cute. We got
Powder blue.
powder blue,
Love that.
sunshine gold, and white,
That's
which I
cute.
think
They
is a
have
good little moment.
some say the best uniforms in professional sports.
I think they're very, very beautiful.
They're cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their unofficial mascot was this guy named Boltman, which is just some guy that dressed up like this
Okay, kind of a slut.
and like Jim
superhero?
Carrey the mask for him, and he was
Ooh.
smoking.
It's giving theatrical.
But then when they moved to LA, he was like,
He didn't travel with them.
no, he put the costume up on sale for eBay for like a couple $1,000s, and he was like, you can have all the rights. I don't know if anybody ever picked it up, but like people were mad about
Should
the LA
we?
thing.
Is it available? Can we
I
get the IP of Boltman?
I will research.
Okay.
So do they not have a mascot now then?
Nope.
They're just the lightning bolt.
Just the charge.
Lame.
No electricity.
I'm getting
Yeah.
over it. They're like speaks for itself.
I think it's like very much like that's what happens when you become LA's like other team.
Yeah, but Jim Harbaugh is their new coach.
Very true.
Who
Sibling
coached the-
rivalries.
Yeah, who coached the Michigan Wolverines, who won the national championship last year.
hmm
Very good coach.
Wait,
Very,
LA's other team?
The Rams.
The Rams are
Oh,
like
okay.
the actual LA team.
Oh.
Not,
got-
I mean, not to dig the Chargers, but
double
it's
dip.
Well,
just
for those of you who
weird.
don't know, the Rams of LA LA Rams. Used to be the LA Rams. Then they moved to St. Louis, won a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and then moved back to LA.
Whoa.
Yeah. People love to move away from LA and then come back and then leave and then come back.
It's the money.
Yeah. People just stress you out here sometimes. Anyway, what are we feeling?
Chiefs.
I mean, obviously, I feel like we have to go Swifties.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Chargers are not that good.
Also, the Chiefs
Yeah.
won a Super Bowl.
Multiple.
I'm going to go Bolts. I'm going to go.
Okay.
Chargers.
It would be considered an upset. The Chargers, they started 2-0. They just recently lost to Pittsburgh. They have a good team.
Let's
Their
go.
quarterback, Justin Herbert, is a little banged up. I think he's trying to play, so I'm gonna presume he plays, and I'm gonna go Kansas City. They've been having some close games lately. I think they're due for an upset. I think they had a tough game last week. I'm gonna go for the upset. I'm gonna go Bolts.
So we have stats going Chargers, vibes going Chiefs.
Yep.
Sounds
Okay.
about right.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
All right.
Game 2, New England Patriots at San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
We'll start with the New England Patriots. I have to be very transparent. I hate them.
Perfect.
I'm already going
So
for
do we.
49ers.
I
too.
hate them. Their mascot, colors, red, white, and blue, boring. Mascot, Pat Patriot, who literally looks like a messed up little Paul Revere, idiot.
Historic.
Tell us how you
Gross.
really feel, Mary.
Anyway, I grew up a Steelers fan. Obviously, this team caused me childhood trauma with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. They're gone
That's
now.
right.
He took the air out of the ball.
He did, and he kissed his kid. It's weird. So,
Well,
Who?
yeah.
Tom or
Tom.
Brady.
I? See,
I
I'm gonna
think
go.
that was-
Why? What do you mean weird? He kissed his
I just
think
like
his
to hate him.
8-year-old son
I just
on the
like to
lips,
hate
which
him.
I just don't think is.
I'm with Nick on that one.
I
I thought they blew that
Mary
up.
just hates everything Tom Brady
She's-
does.
she's-
Yes.
fair,
and Patriots.
totally fair. That's,
Yes.
Yeah, there's some real
Um,
trauma there.
I'm not gonna expound on that. Anyway, also, yeah, maybe cheated. Low key, but to me, Tom Brady is the Tom Sandoval of the NFL.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That is a statement.
Um,
So
interesting.
maybe we should get to the 49ers.
Gronk, of course, would be Tom Schwartz, and Bill Belichick would be Lisa Vanderpump. Anyway, but none of them are there anymore. So, who are they now? They're having an identity crisis, which, grow, love, change, all for a rebirth. But
Right.
I hate them.
I
Anyway.
think we have to go 49ers strictly because Sydney Warner is married to Fred Warner. And she's
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Also, NorCal represents. So
Yes,
I have
and-
to.
I truly hate the fucking 49ers for my own trauma. They've
Okay.
listen, as a Packer
Fair.
fan, they've been better than the Packers recently. I think the Packers have lost the past 5 playoff games to the Niners, so they've been the
Yeah, I get
cause
it.
of some of my pain.
Yeah.
you
I like the wife who makes all of the great outfits from jerseys, from repurposed jerseys.
know.
Yeah.
Yes, Kyle Juszczyk's wife.
Yeah, she's fantastic. So
yeah.
that's my vote.
And what if I told you if their mascot was a guy named Sourdough Sam?
Love sourdough.
Makes sense for San
Sourdough
Francisco.
Sam. He is also a miner, like a
Like
prospector.
a coal miner.
Coal miner.
Oh my
was
God.
like,
I
is
was
that
like-
okay?
Sorry. Multiple uses of the term. I mean,
You were
prospector.
so excited for that too.
Prospector.
Okay.
Prospector
yes,
miner.
Yes.
Gold miner.
I was like-
Silence.
San Francisco.
Okay.
49ers miner.
Right, they came to California.
Yes.
They got gold. They're rich.
Yeah, we don't have to
Yes.
child labor law this shit or anything
No,
like that. Okay.
and one time Sourdough Sam met Snoop Dogg, wore shutter shades and a massive gold chain around his neck that read Sour
Okay.
Dizzle,
He's
which I think is
stylish.
funny.
Have
so
you sour-
vibes.
sourdough from San Francisco is really good.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, they committed to the bit.
49ers.
Okay.
Exactly.
49ers.
49ers.
You guys gonna go 49ers?
49ers.
Okay,
Hell yeah.
despite my pain, I am also going to go 49ers. They've lost the past 2 games. They're on a bit of a losing streak for a really good team. New England's been tough, but they are, like Mary said, on the come up. So I think the 49ers are going to get right this week against the New England Patriots. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. That's
All right.
all from your
Well.
local football expert.
There we go. Well,
Thank
that
you,
was
Mary.
Vibes versus Stats. Are you guys watching Monsters, the Menendez brothers documentary on the Ryan Murphy?
I
have
don't know if I
not.
should.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
So
It is
Yeah,
incredibly
it's
dark.
It's dark.
Weird.
You're
Yeah.
watching it.
Yes.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's very dark. It's certainly trigger warning. There's obviously violence, topics of abuse. It's come with great controversy, but apparently Eric Menendez has issued a statement being upset about the portrayal of his brother, which I guess you'd expect. And then I think Ryan Murphy has spoken out very, he clapped back, I guess. It was a red carpet. He's like, how much time do you have? And he, from his POV, and I get it. Like,
Wait, what did he? Can we get this statement?
someone asked, on a red carpet, they're like, "Hey, Eric Menendez, basically doesn't appreciate your portrayal, and do you have anything to say?" And he's like, "How much time do you have?" And Ryan Murphy was like, "I know that Eric hasn't seen it."
Mhm.
And basically, I guess it's probably easy to know because he's in prison. I don't know, maybe he confidently said he knew Eric didn't see it. So he's like, I appreciate that. Obviously, this is sensitive. I appreciate his, obviously it's involved. And anytime someone is talking about your life, you're going to have strong feelings about it. But he hasn't seen it, so he's speaking on something he definitely hasn't seen. And I'm not watching this show as a documentary or as a exact, It's clearly not, because a lot of the scenes are between Eric and Lyle Menendez. Well, clearly no one was there in this moment to know everything that was said. So there's clearly a lot of liberties taken. But Ryan Murphy talked about how, like, when he does these biopics, he has a team that does research for years to try to get as much accurate information as possible. And clearly there's a artistic and creative expression. It's a very Ryan Murphy-esque type of show. But, as someone who knew about this case from long ago, it is a dark, certainly, but fascinating case that, involved two brothers murdering their parents.
I do have his
It's crazy.
response. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
So he basically said what you said, where he said, "I know he hasn't watched it." Then he goes on to say, "I hope he does watch it. I think if he did watch it, he would be incredibly proud of Cooper Koch, who plays him." Then he goes on, "We show many, 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 many perspectives. That's what the show does. In every episode, you're given a new theory based on people who were either involved or covered the case. Some of the controversy seems to be people thinking, for example, that their brothers are having an incestuous relationship. There are people who said that never happened. There were people who said it did happen." So he's saying he's working from different perspectives, which I haven't seen.
We're in the middle of it, right? And we're at a part where, to be totally candid, and again, we're just watching the show, we're at a part where we're like, parents fucking deserve that shit, because we're at a point where it's really into the abuse, the alleged abuse of the parents, in a very kind of different but similar to our friend of show Gypsy Rose. It's like, we don't condone crime, we don't condone murder, but like when you're watching it as a human being and you see this horrific abuse upon these children, you kind of ask yourself, how could you not, resort to this survival, doesn't make it okay, but like you feel some empathy. Obviously, again, very Ryan Murphy-esque. There's the heightened sexuality of the show, but at no time am I thinking in like there's the abuse, and then the portrayal of the brothers' relationship, from my POV is all a result of this terrible abuse.
I think it really opens up just like the conversation of trauma and what going through trauma, especially as a child, can kind of take control of your life and kind of, lead you in paths that maybe you wouldn't typically go down if you hadn't have been through this trauma. It really opens up the conversation of just like psychology and all of that. And it is incredibly dark. Didn't Kim Kardashian and this actor go and meet with?
Yeah.
They met with Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And do we know
Lyle.
how that conversation went? Do we know, like, were they?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, were they just like going to get character study, or like, or
You would
was
think
it-
they would have done that before they filmed it, but I think it was just more to. Kim's been very involved in prison reform and things like that, so I don't know what their intentions are. I'm not aware of what the fallout of that interaction was. But anyways, it's a very fascinating show. We're enjoying it. But it is one of those shows where it's dark, and if you watch it before you go to bed, you might unfortunately be dreaming about it. It's not for the faint at heart. It's dark for sure, but it's certainly fascinating.
Speaking of crime,
Yeah, truly.
Speaking of crime, we got Elizabeth Wagmeister here. Let's bring her in. Helix Sleep is the perfect place to get the perfect mattress. You've heard us talk about Helix mattresses for some time now. If for no other reason, this podcast has changed my life because it introduced me to the Helix mattress. And about 4 years ago, I got my first Helix mattress, and it has truly changed the way I sleep. It is the most comfortable place that I go to every day. Natalie's obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. We have a Helix mattress both at home and at the lake. We truly love it. I don't know why anyone else would get a different mattress. I only believe in monopolies when it comes to mattress orders because people deserve to sleep on the type of mattress that Helix offers you. They have a lineup of 20 unique mattresses, so they have a mattress for all kinds of sleepers. Doesn't matter if you're a side sleeper, stomach sleeper, you sleep hot, you sleep cold. Big and tall, and for the kids, they have a mattress for everyone. Again, Natalie and I sleep on the Moonlight mattress. You can get a 100-night sleep trial with it. That's amazing. Sleep on it, do whatever you want on it. If you don't absolutely love it after 100 nights, you can still send it back. All their mattresses come with a 10 to 15 year warranty depending on the mattress. Truly, truly amazing. Also kind of fun to just order and open up. No, you just stop wasting your time going to these mattress stores and waiting weeks and weeks and weeks to get the mattress that you need. Not with Helix. They have mattresses available. You can get it within a few days. You just go to helixsleep.com, answer a few questions about the type of sleeper that you are, what you prefer, your preferences, and they will give you the mattress that will change your life. Don't want to take our word for it? Well, don't worry. Helix was awarded the #1 mattress picked by GQ and Wired Magazine. It is even recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to sleep solution for improving your sleep. Helix is offering up to 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/VIALL. That is helixsleep.com/VIALL. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for clean eating, delivering pre-portioned and prepped quality whole foods with limited processed ingredients. Green Chef sends organic, fresh produce, responsibly sourced proteins, and chef-designed recipes in every box for satisfying, nourishing, and convenient meals that make it easy to stick to a clean routine. Don't let the back-to-school season set back your nutrition. Green Chef is making it easy to stick to your healthy eating habits with a whole new, more flexible menu featuring over 35 customizable recipe options every week. New options including doubling your portion of protein or veggies, or swapping a plant-based protein like organic tofu or tempeh. Are you dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian, or vegan? Well, no problem. Green Chef has over 15 recipes every week to support those lifestyles and more. Green Chef has over 80 weekly menu and market options to satisfy every taste bud. Each box is packed with foods that you can feel good about, like whole fruits and vegetables, plus protein and whole grain options. Take your clean routine further with 2 times the support. Green Chef's healthiest menu ever, and access to thousands of top-rated gyms and fitness studios worldwide from ClassPass. For a limited time, new Green Chef subscribers will also receive 50 free credits to use at ClassPass, about a month's worth of memberships. Also, just a heads up, Green Chef is owned by HelloFresh, and with a wide array of meal plans to choose from, there's something for everyone. Now you can enjoy both brands at a discount with me. Go to greenchef.com/ViallFilesClass for 50% off your first box. That's 50 plus 50 free credits with ClassPass. That's code ViallFilesClass at greenchef.com/ViallFilesClass to get 50% off your first box, plus 50 free ClassPass credits. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nick. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. It's great to have you back. How you been?
I've been well. I miss you guys, and I'm so excited to be back. How's everything? Not to ignore other people in the room, but Nick and Natalie, how's baby life going?
It's perfect. It's amazing. It's so fun.
Baby life is great. River is doing something new every day. She's eating eggs now.
How is auntie life?
Auntie life is good. Wolfie is also eating eggs now. I got a video of him yesterday eating eggs. So we'll have to do like a baby meetup.
There you go.
Yes, please. Please.
Well, we could talk babies all day long, but obviously we brought you in to get your expert opinion on all things Diddy. It seems like there's a developing story every day on this case. It seems to be wilder and wilder. Most recently, we find out that Diddy is cellmates with the crypto crime boss. What's his name?
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, who ripped off zillions of people in crypto. Let's start there, Elizabeth. Is that just a wild coincidence, or how come 2 high-profile people just happen to be cellmates where they are being
Feels
detained?
like that's a safe bet. Let's put him with a crypto.
So it's only a coincidence in the sense that they both happen to be held and to be to be charged around the same time, but it's actually not a coincidence because this detention center, this federal detention center, the MDC in Brooklyn, they have this area for high profile inmates. So first I want to give a shout out to our correspondent, Kara Scannell, who actually broke this news that they are dorm mates, I guess we can call it. And what Kara's reporting says is that the MDC, they're high profile inmates, they're kept in this separate unit so that they're isolated from other inmates and they don't use the public areas of the federal detention center. Her sources say that it's a dormitory-like setup. And yeah, I mean, who would have thought, right, that it would take this twist and turn, that you would have these two very high-profile individuals, essentially bunking together.
Is this like even the prison systems acknowledge like celebrity, and they just don't, they want to accommodate celebrities not having to like be annoyed by the regular inmates? Like, what is the point of treating these people any differently regardless of their celebrity? I guess I'm a little surprised that the prison system even gives a shit about them being public figures and treating them differently or with any type of privileges. Because if I were in prison, I would certainly want to be, kept around other people who are getting special consideration, and I'm assuming that would limit my chances of being bunked up with other violent criminals that might be a little scarier. Why do you think that is the case?
So first of all, full disclosure, I am not, the expert on the prison system, but I do actually want to say one of our analysts, Joey Jackson, who is just, for those of your listeners and viewers who have watched him for years on CNN, know how brilliant he is. And last night on Caitlin Collins' show, he said, make no mistake, being in jail is being in jail. Like, this is not fun for any of them. And it's not seen as special treatment. It's more of a security precaution. Because, I agree with you, Nick. If you are charged with a crime, why should you get any sort of special treatment? You would hope that that is not the case here, but I believe it's more of a security precaution. And, these are two individuals that are incredibly wealthy, to say the least. And I think that that's all a factor, right? When you have means to maybe work the system in a way that the average inmate wouldn't, when people know who you are and there could be more violence. I think that all those things are taken into consideration. But I do think that the way that it's been reported in some outlets makes it seem like, they're in celebrity rehab and living the life. And I do not believe that is the case. In fact, the MDC is notorious for being a really bad place to be held. The New York Times actually just did a piece all about it. So I don't think that Diddy is, living in his Miami mansion that's worth $50 million anymore.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Right now, it seems like the biggest speculation online, and it really does seem speculation, is just who else might be involved. We've heard about these videotapes. Clearly, all over the internet, we're seeing, again, it's all speculation, fans or just people online going back, anyone who's taking a picture of Diddy at his party. We're seeing old interviews popping up of people talking about these parties, including Diddy himself. I think there's speculation online that Jay-Z wiped his Instagram, Usher wiped his Twitter, and then there's speculation that Jay-Z wiped, timing certainly seems off, even if it's not a coincidence. I've seen online speculation that maybe this is something Jay-Z does when he's marketing new movies and things like that. Where are we at in terms of, on your side of things? Obviously we're dealing in speculation, but I got to assume there's a lot of very nervous people out there, hoping their names don't pop up as it relates to being involved in these parties.
Look, Diddy knows everybody in the industry, right? He's been on top of the world since the 90s, and he's notorious for throwing big parties. We all know about the white parties. That became a pop culture phenomenon where people in their own lives, wear white and say Diddy's white parties. So I think it's fair to say that nearly every celebrity in the world has been to one of Diddy's homes for one of his parties. That doesn't mean that they are complicit in his alleged crimes, right? Just because there's a celebrity who's in a photo at one of Diddy's homes and may look like they are under the influence and partying and having fun, that doesn't mean that they are complicit in criminal activity. So I want to be clear on that. Now, that being said, of course, there are people who are very nervous. You do not want your name to be brought up in this, right? The man has just been indicted and charged with federal crimes of sex trafficking and racketeering. He's facing life in prison. This is as bad as it gets. So yeah, if you're a celebrity who has perhaps done some shady things at one of Diddy's parties, you're a little nervous right now. But again, there is a difference of being drunk or even doing drugs at one of Diddy's parties and having fun versus being at one of these alleged freak offs, which is what is at the crux of this entire indictment. So I think, as you said, a lot of this is rumors, a lot of stuff is resurfacing. And we need to be careful in drawing that line. But I do think that, old comments are always revisited, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad. But something I want to point out that I have found really interesting, not a single star has come to Diddy's defense, not one. And when you think of the careers that he has helped build and the power and the talent and all the things that come from him, right? There's not a single celebrity who doesn't know this man. The fact that not one celebrity has come forward is very noteworthy because, number one, I think people just don't want their name involved. But number two, maybe they've seen things, right? Maybe they have seen Diddy allegedly act in certain ways because we've seen a lot of stars accused of bad behavior, and they usually have famous friends who come to their defense. Not in this case.
True. I hear you on that, but I think even most recently, when you say celebrities have famous friends come to defense, it hasn't really landed. I think most notably Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, wrote that letter for, what's his name?
Danny Masterson.
Yeah, Danny Masterson, who...
They wrote the letters to the judge defending his character.
Yeah, and so to that degree, I feel like regardless of what you think of Diddy, I feel like, especially this high profile of a case, I imagine they're connecting the dots that the feds are bringing this case forward because there clearly is a lot of damning evidence. And my understanding is the feds don't tend to arrest people and make charges unless they're incredibly confident in the case that they have. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that no one's come to their defense. Has CNN or you followed up with any of these high profile celebrities like Usher who have deleted, their entire Twitter account? I think it was like Pink did a couple months ago, something like that. Maybe it's coincidence, but for people who have been specifically Usher, heavily connected to Diddy, it sure seems like really bad timing if it wasn't as a result of having to do with this case.
Yeah. If I were advising anyone who was linked to Diddy what to do, it would not be wipe your social media at this point, because whatever the reason is, as you said, not a good look. We have reached out to many of these celebrities in question, haven't heard back anything noteworthy to report at this time. But I think it's exactly what you said, Nick. And I know that you disagree with me that it's not strange that no one's come to his defense. What I do agree with you on there is it's just not a good look. Like, it's not going to land well, right?
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct on that. So I think a lot of these celebrities, perhaps if there's nothing that they did that was wrong, they still don't want to be associated with him. And maybe that could explain why they're trying to kind of wipe their plate clean of any association with Diddy. I just think it's interesting that from day one, like back in November 2023, when Cassie filed her lawsuit, before this reached the point of federal raids and certainly of an indictment and of charges, because you're absolutely right, Nick, the feds don't put this amount of resources into a months-long investigation if there's not evidence that they believe is worthy to look into. I just think it's interesting that from day one, day one, there wasn't a single person. But I know now I'm going on a tangent, not answering your question, but just since you brought up like that level of evidence to bring about charges, I was first to report a few months ago that a grand jury would be utilized in this case, and that nearly every single accuser who had filed a civil lawsuit had met with federal investigators, and they were being very cooperative, and they were quite literally handing over evidence, like handing over computers, handing over hard drives, handing over videos. And the feds were watching all the videos, and any person that they saw in the video, not every, but many, they would contact those people on their own and bring them in for questioning. So the scope of this investigation is dozens and dozens of people that have met with federal investigators over the course of months. And remember, it's still ongoing. Just because he is now incarcerated and is facing a trial and has been charged, the investigation is still active and isn't over.
I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of fans have kind of found these Eminem songs where he has kind of several times name dropped P. Diddy in a terrible light. What do you make of those? And is that going to be part of this at all?
I mean, it may sound silly, but I wouldn't rule out anything as evidence, right? Like if you are a federal investigator, and if you happen to think that because Eminem rapped something that he may have seen something or known something, they could reach out to him. I don't think it's top of their list, but I do think, look, Eminem is a musical genius and his lyrics have always been genius. I think what that speaks to is you would imagine what Eminem is saying there is that he's seen stuff or knows stuff or there's a reputation. And, this reminds me of back with Harvey Weinstein, right? Like you had all of these resurfaced tapes of people saying things and, making jokes. You had Courtney Love on a red carpet who called him out years and years before. And that was known as, the worst kept secret in Hollywood, that everyone knew and they didn't say anything because of his power. And, they kind of turned a blind eye to it. And, what Eminem is saying in his lyrics, he's calling him out, like full stop.
I mean, the most notable one is he says, I'm like a RAPER, got so many SAs. Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he? And it's like, you're telling us something for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not, it is like a bit of an Easter egg, but it's really not. Like he's just saying it. Now look, just because Eminem says something doesn't mean that it's true, but he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and it does make you question, like, okay, well, Eminem, he's not just pulling that out of nowhere. Like, that must have been something in his world that he had heard or he had seen that made him, like, put it in a song.
That's what almost makes it weird, because it's just like, then you have to ask yourself, well, how do you know this, Eminem? And given some of the charges, or at least the speculation on some of these charges, it's like, well, why didn't you say something? Or maybe he did, like, I don't know what he saw, but if he's aware of this, was he at one of these parties? Should he have come forward? In a weird way, it does almost incriminate Eminem in a weird way. Like, it certainly makes him, not incriminate, but it's kind of like, well, why?
It could also just be that he is commenting on something that everybody is talking about, right? Like,
I think it just leaves open the door for him to be like questioned by someone. It's just like, why were these your lyrics? What do you know, if you know anything?
I'm most fascinated by the story in terms of what is the potential fallout, because a lot of these crimes are centered around these parties, right? And it's just like, where do you draw the line between, and we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday's episode with Emily Baker, but where do you draw the line between, I just happened to be at a party not realizing what was going on, and being at a party where it's just like, you shouldn't, like, maybe a bad analogy, but when I was in high school, we had like the honor code. We weren't supposed to drink. And part of that rule was it was an excuse to show up to a party and stay at a party that was clearly serving alcohol. You needed to leave. Like, your excuse couldn't have been like, well, I didn't drink and I didn't know any better. Like, you would still get in trouble for being at a party where drugs and alcohol might be at. So, like, where do the feds draw the line between, like, maybe some shady situation and people being there, who are being SA'd and things like that? And do people get are they able to say, well, I didn't realize, I didn't know? Like, it would be pretty messed up to find out that there are celebrities there where these crimes are going on and being committed, and having a bunch of people plead ignorance.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that, kind of looking at the bigger picture, that since the Me Too movement in 2017, that it's not just Hollywood, it's a systemic societal issue that we're all now kind of examining, like, what is everyone's role when things go horribly wrong, right? Like, that term, like, if you see something, say something. And I think that there's a lot of reasons why people I'm not talking about Diddy right now, I'm talking about whoever these perpetrators have been. They saw something, they didn't say something because they themselves were scared of retaliation. There's a million different factors, but of course, like, if there was a celebrity who was A, involved, or B, observed, like, you would hope that they would come forward. But I think there's a difference between someone who was involved in this alleged criminal activity or who witnessed it, because you would hope if you witness it, you would say something, particularly if you are someone in a position of power where you can. But remember that a lot of these people may have felt themselves scared, right? Or like they are being victimized or they are being threatened. And, the feds have said that Diddy, in their indictment, they have accused him of running a criminal enterprise. So he's like at the linchpin of this, right? Where everyone underneath him is working for him. And that is why this investigation is ongoing, because they are looking at other people. And there's been 11 lawsuits filed, and many of them have co-defendants, right? Like Universal, his chief of staff, his former bodyguard, 2 of his sons. Like there's a lot of people who've been accused of either enabling behavior or providing drugs, helping allegedly traffic people across state lines. Like this doesn't happen isolated with one person. That doesn't happen, particularly with a very famous person who doesn't do much for themselves anyway, right? Like they're used to making a call and paying someone and do this for me. So yeah, that's why the investigation's ongoing. And I think we will see a lot of people who, whether or not they're a celebrity remains to be seen, but certainly people who works with Diddy or for Diddy who have information. And then we'll also see, are they going to take a plea deal and rat him out, right? Like that's something that the feds are going to try to do as well.
How much, if anything, do you think will come out before trial, with the digital evidence, with like all of that stuff? Do you think any of it will, or do you think it'll all kind of be kept under wraps until the trial itself?
I will say, from the sources that I've been talking to, people are being very respectful of the process and of the investigation. Even if there's something that they want to tell me and they believe is important to get out there, something that I often hear when I call sources is, I really can't speak, while this investigation is ongoing. Nothing that happens with the grand jury is supposed to come out. That's against the law. So I think that people are being very cooperative. That said, I do believe, and I would go more than I believe. Like I know that more information is going to come out. It takes a long time for a trial. That could be months and months and months, more than a year away. Whether or not there's tangible evidence, like, that video, maybe, certain outlets, I think pay for material like that. So certainly not CNN, but, that's a way for it to come out. But in terms of more information, I think we will see more accusers. I think we will see more civil suits. This is far, far from over.
This may be a stupid question, but does Diddy know what is being talked about in the grand jury? Does he know all the evidence they have?
Yeah, probably not. Right. No.
Not at this point, at
Okay.
least.
Wow.
No. So, I mean, when they're prepping for trial, at that point, then his attorneys, both sides, right, the prosecution and Diddy's defense, have to fight for what they believe should be admissible in court and should not be, and then the judge will rule on that. So from my sources close to the investigation, I've heard there's a treasure trove of evidence. That's why this investigation has been lengthy. Not that that's abnormal. Like these investigations take time. It's not abnormal that it's been months and months, but there's so much information to pour through and so many people bringing more information. Imagine what could come out in court.
Yeah.
So when this trial happens, there will be a lot that I'm sure both sides will be fighting to keep from the jury.
And you think there's a chance that the actual trial could still be a year out? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Wow.
These things take a lot of time. They have to see who's willing to testify. They have to go through all the evidence and see, again, what will be admissible in court. You think from the time I go back to Weinstein because I covered both of those trials. I don't have the exact time frame in my head, but from the time that he was first accused to when he was charged was years. That trial didn't happen until 2020.
Wow.
He was accused in 2017.
Yeah.
There's many reasons why these things could take a long time. But I want to point out, since Natalie, you brought up evidence that could come out. I know that you all know that it was our team here at CNN that we broke that video of Cassie being horribly, violently abused. And that came up a lot during the court proceedings last week when he was indicted. According to all legal experts who have been on CNN's air, will be a key piece of evidence that is more than likely shown to the jury. And even though that was referenced in a civil suit, and we independently came across that video and published it because for obvious reasons, it was incredibly newsworthy, to say the least, even though that came from a civil suit and not the criminal proceedings, it's all related. So when you look at these civil suits from these accusers, that can kind of provide a roadmap, right, of what you may see in this trial. Everything that they mentioned, if there's evidence, the feds are, hoping to get their hands on all that evidence.
Yeah, and as our guest Emily pointed out, because it's a racketeering case, it seems like the feds have a way more leeway using this past evidence to connect the dots for to paint a pattern of behavior, where in other cases that video is disgusting as it is, might not be admissible given what the other charges are. So it is fascinating given like the racketeering of it all and how the feds are able to use evidence like that to use it towards this case.
Well, you have someone who's denied, these allegations, right? So then when you have a video like that, it shows, well, you denied many of the allegations in Cassie's lawsuit. Now this comes out. So that video also served as an attack on his credibility, right? Because now he's denied not every single claim, but he has denied the subsequent allegations and suits that he has been faced with. And that's going to be hard too when they are selecting a jury to find someone who doesn't, you have to find 12 people who don't know who Sean Combs is, which is nearly impossible, and B, who hasn't seen that video and now who has seen what that man is capable of, even though in his apology video, he said he was disgusted by his behavior, and per that video, I think was aiming to make it seem like this was an isolated event. That's going to be a hard thing to find a jury who doesn't have thoughts about what they saw.
I see that in the indictment, it says that anybody or anything is open to investigation that's related to the Combs enterprise, and that's including alcohol companies, fashion, TV. People are noticing that CEOs are leaving their companies at a really fast rate. And I guess I was wondering, do you think is the main goal just to get confirmation that Diddy is or did do these things versus is it a bigger sex trafficking ring? Is it like the Jeffrey Epstein of it all, where we were waiting for the black book to come out? Do they think that there's more prolific people in this related to the racketeering and sex trafficking to bring in with Diddy? Yeah,
just to double down on Sierra's question, that I know you kind of speculated, and I don't know what you're able to say, but piggybacking off of Sarah's question, is the expectation that other high-profile people eventually will not only be named, in terms of being at these parties, but actual charges being presented against any high-profile executives or celebrities? Is there an expectation there, or is that too early to say?
I mean, it's too early to say because we don't know what charges may or may not come forward. But I think it's absolutely fair to, beyond speculate, that the prosecutors have said it, they've said that they are continuing this investigation and that based on their investigation at this current moment, that they have strong reason to believe that he did not act alone. So yes, this is not just right now, only Diddy has been indicted, but this is not just a Diddy case. Every single accuser in the civil suit has mentioned other people, right? He was one of the top earners in the music industry, then went on to, as you said, Sarah, fashion and liquor. And think of all these executives who, were overseeing his businesses, were looking at the books. There was money allegedly spent to help enable these alleged crimes that he was committing. And it's hard to believe that he would be acting alone. So when you say high profile, I think absolutely. Does that mean a celebrity? what's your definition of celebrity? But I think that there's a lot of high profile executives, a lot of people who won't be high profile, who are people that we've never heard of, who were hired to work with and for Diddy. But, too soon to say if there will be charges, but it's completely fair to say that there are other people being investigated at this very moment.
That's crazy. Yeah. And it's always even more crazy that it's like we mentioned with the Epstein, this could go on for years. So, I mean, it's really interesting to see whether what other high profile celebrities, if any, are more than just, involved, but actually potentially charged with any types of crimes will be. I think to me that's the biggest next ball to drop if it does drop of who could be involved. Is a crazy question.
I mean, it's a lot of top dogs like CEOs and whatnot stepping down from companies where they've held these positions for so long. And it's like, why is the timing now?
Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, thank you for walking through all of that with us. Let's turn the page to something a little more brighter, a little more heartwarming. The Golden Bachelorette episode 2. Does anyone feel like, Elizabeth, you're tapped into Bachelor Nation. You obviously had the opportunity to do Joan's first interview. I can't help but wonder, given just last season, Jen's season, other than the crazy ending, it didn't seem to be as well received, or people weren't as excited about it. Do you think there's any world in which Bachelor Nation just fully leans into the golden era and it becomes a golden franchise? Or do you think they'll always continue to do both the original format and golden? Because it just seems like they're really leaning into the golden, and rightfully so. It seems to really work with this format. And I'm just curious if you have any thoughts or if you know anything on the direction the franchise might be leaning.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. I think they should be leaning into the golden franchise. I don't think that they will ever leave the flagship behind. I don't see this going fully golden, but I do think that they can make programming choices, right? Where there's more golden spinoffs and more that airs year round. Bachelor airs year round, as we all know. Maybe they air a, golden paradise and a golden bachelor or bachelorette in the same year, and then only one season of the flagship. So I definitely think there's more momentum behind the golden franchise right now than the flagship one. And we've seen this before, right? Where it feels like it needs a little bit of a shake up to kind of be revitalized and bring more interest. And as you said, the golden franchise has done that. People are really excited about it. So I think they should be leaning into it. And I want to see Golden Paradise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, that'd be great. And it's
Right?
interesting because I think the flagship show of The Bachelor is in a bit of a pickle, right? Because it's still network television, right? So it's ABC, right? And so, when The Bachelor, Bachelorette, the original flagship format, they're now in an era where they're competing against shows like Love Island, right? A show that can really, it's streamed. They can kind of really go there. Just like the heightened drama. You go from watching Love Island to The Bachelor. It's just like, it doesn't compete.
It's like a soap.
Yeah. It's like, where, so it's like they can't keep up given their limitations of being a network television show, coupled with the fact that, we know that it's just, the people they're casting for the flagship show, it just kind of reads disingenuous now with all the social media of it all. It's like, why are these people really there? You can't really fault contestants who are in their early to mid to late 20s or 30s, signing up for this golden opportunity of fame and influencers and things like that. And then you have the golden franchise where you never speculate in terms of their intentions, because it's so clear that everyone there is just truly there for just second chance. They're not second chance at love. Maybe for some it's third or fourth, but just this unique opportunity to do something so out of pocket, something exciting and new and fresh, take a risk in ways they haven't taken a risk in years. And it's just like the flagship can't compete with the authenticity that Golden brings, and they're having a hard time competing with the other love competition shows that are streaming. It's just it almost makes sense why they're having a hard time keeping up because of of what Golden gives them, and then how they can't really keep up with the Love Islands of the world. So I don't know. It's an interesting argument.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Like there are absolute limitations, right? That just the Netflixes of the world don't have. So when you have, Love is Blind or Too Hot to Handle, they can show more sex. They can say whatever they want without being bleeped. One of my favorite parts of Love is Blind is when they kind of go into the real world and they talk about their finances and all of that. Like it's very authentic. So I think the Bachelor franchise has those limitations, A, like you said, Nick, because of the broadcast restrictions, but B, it started in such a different era of reality television. So I think The Bachelor, it's more of the fairy tale and not like the mess of authenticity. And I think that maybe like leaning into that is what's key because it's different audiences, right? Like, of course, you have crossover people who love reality dating shows like myself. We're going to watch them all. Like, I'll always watch The Bachelor and I'll always watch Love is Blind. But there's very different audiences. There's a lot of people watching The Bachelor that are never going to watch Love is Blind, right? Obviously, those viewers skew older. They're more, middle of the country. So I think that you're right. There's limitations, but if they lean into that, perhaps that's what they should keep doing. But what they've done with the Golden franchise is what no one else is doing, right? So then they have that up on all of these streamers, which is like the young, messy, like we love, we all love the mess of a reality star who's in their 20s or 30s. Golden is the exact opposite. And it does feel so authentic. And I'm loving Joan's season. I like it more than Golden Bachelor with Gary.
I gotta say,
I think it's great.
We talked about this on Tuesday, the Gill of it all, and obviously that's a unfortunate situation. But minus that though, I've been really impressed with the collection of men they were able to find for this season, and I was vocal about like my concerns if they're going to be able to do that. I thought it would be one thing for them to find a collection of women who maybe have been fans of this franchise, or maybe have daughters or kids who have been franchised who want their moms to go on. I thought it might be tougher to find a group of men who would be willing to open up and talk about their feelings and things like that. And it sure seems like they found some pretty highly successful guys. Honestly, it seems like half these guys are kind of loaded and highly successful. Now, that doesn't mean, they're high character guys just because they have money. But I just, in general, I've been impressed by the collection of men that they've been able to find. And I really think that's driving, along with Joan being so dynamic, the enjoyment that people are having of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think the cast of men that they found is phenomenal. I think, I hate to say this, but it does feel like they are there for the right reasons. If you compare to Golden Bachelor, I loved it and it was so fun. And I do think that a lot of people there, like they went to find love, but how it ended up, my favorite part of Golden Bachelor was the women. I loved the camaraderie between the women and they were so fun. And it kind of became about that. It was almost like a little like sitcom between the women, where now I feel like we are really watching a dating show. This feels like what the Bachelor flagship was back when it started in the 2000s. But it's so sincere. I literally look at my husband and I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying. Like, I can't stop crying. Like, these men, like they're so sensitive and when they talk to their families, and I just think that it feels like they are all there truly to enjoy this experience, to find love. They obviously, a lot of them have this commonality of losing their spouse. So
they love a widower. God. It's like if you didn't have someone die, you can't compete. I do wish they would allow.
Only you could say that, Nick.
Right? Right.
I mean, I do wish sometimes, like I'm with you. I'm crying all the time. It obviously touches the heart, but I mean, there are other stories out there other than someone experiencing a partner passing away, and sometimes I wish they would.
It does make I've talked about my mom potentially going on the next season of Golden Bachelor, and she's kind of, she's watched these last two and she's said to me like, I didn't lose your dad or my husband. Like, I've been divorced twice and I have 4 children and I raised 4 children on my own and I had, just a complete different experience. Like, do people even want to hear that? Or do
Yeah.
they just, like, I feel like it is kind of cutting off the people who have just been divorced and who have just like gone through heartbreak and not necessarily losing their spouse.
No, I agree. I think that's my only criticism. And the Bachelor producers, it's often a criticism I have is like they know what works and they just kind of lean into that one thing where it's just like to Natalie's point, like there are other empowering stories. There are other heartbreaking stories out there. You don't have to experience death to have overcome a great deal of adversity. And I would like them to like shine a light on some of those other stories. People who had difficulties in tough marriages and things like that. I think it's a challenge because like no one wants to come on and disparage a partner and things like that. But yeah, I would like them to try to open that up a little bit more than they are right now.
I didn't watch the Golden Bachelor, so my question was, I know that Joan is a widower. Do we think that maybe they casted that way to like help it be more relatable, or was there a lot of widowers or widows on the previous season?
There was. I mean, listen, I think when you're dealing with a cast, a lot of people have that experience. I just, knowing how they make that show, I just know that they love a widow or widower. They do. From a TV standpoint, they seem to be more drawn to those stories because, again, it obviously brings the waterworks, it brings the emotions.
Yeah.
But I still would like to see other stories other than just someone talking about death. And I would like to see other things highlighted and not just the people who have experienced a passing of a partner.
Right.
But I think you are right. I think because Joan is a widower, that they cast men who can understand her experience, right? So maybe whatever the next spinoff is, whoever their next lead is, perhaps it's not a widower and perhaps it's someone who, you could have a terrible divorce and be on the show, or you could have had something that just didn't work out, right? Like you had a great marriage and you decided to split. But yeah, I think those are all really interesting stories to look into. And I agree with you. If the lead is not a widower, then I think they can lean into that more.
I got to say, though, I think I was really right about Chalk. He is definitely a top candidate. For him to get the first one-on-one is a big deal. I always say that, the Bachelor producers, they look for their villain when it comes to their first impression rose or a first date. I think that's different when it comes to Golden. I don't think they're looking for villains on this show. I think that's not their point. But I think Joan is really, it's about finding love. So she clearly has something with Chalk. I love his eye contact. I love the way his eyes sparkle. Disneyland. It was just
Sweet.
when he was
Everything.
talking about his partner and when he was like, we had plans, Joan. Oh my God, even now I'm just like getting emotional.
And every time he was like, it's just to feel like a kid again. Like every time he said that, like I would just start my tears watering up. Like I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. Have they gone to Disneyland before on The Bachelor?
Have they?
I honestly, I don't think they
I don't
have,
think
which
they
is
have.
shocking given that the connection and the cross promotion opportunities. Like they really haven't done that. You would think every 3 years they would go to some type of Disney-owned theme park.
Right.
It's almost shocking that they
I
haven't
was
done that.
thinking the same when that happened. I was like, oh, of course, at Disneyland. And I also think that the producers know what they're doing and sending Chalk on that date. Like, you're not going to have a bad time at Disneyland. Like, it was a perfect date. But I agree with you, Nick. I think he is definitely one to keep an eye on.
One to watch.
And I love the prom date. Like, if that
So
were on the
cute.
normal Bachelor, it would have seemed so cheesy. But because it was with these people of a certain age, it was so fun. I loved it.
So fun. Natalie we were watching it. Nallie's like, oh, they should have gotten their prom pictures from when they were younger. And I was like, oh, that would have been a good idea. Turns out they did that, but then they barely showed it. I
Yeah.
really wanted them to they could have like in a upper third type of thing, just kind of popped it up. I wanted to see all these guys' photos. And even if it was like a homecoming, it doesn't, Sadie Hawkins, it doesn't have to be prom. I just want to see them all dressed up,
Forgot about that.
as a young man. And I wish they would have shown us more than they showed us. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. How adorable is Charles? Oh my God.
Die
His-
for him.
God. He's so cute.
We have to protect him at all costs.
and
Love him.
just, literally the only person him and his wife ever dated. And not that, listen, every passing of a partner has its own tragic story, but a brain aneurysm to be with someone, having a normal day, no health concerns, and then a suddenness. I mean, God, my heart breaks for what that man what the state of mind that man was in when that happened. But I feel like he's a sage, or he's
so positive.
Like protect him
positive.
at all costs.
My God, the
Yeah.
wisdom this man has, and just like when he was sitting there in the bleachers during prom by
Alone.
himself,
Oh.
my heart died.
His little dance too.
Yeah, his dance, and then when he was on the phone with his
His daughter.
daughter in the confessional, I mean, he is really, whoever just said it, he needs to be protected at all costs. Like he's
The
he's
sweetest.
just
Creative note, I would like, at the permission of the Golden cast, more involvement with the kids. I want to see more kind of ITMs, and I want to see an incorporation, because I think it's just a great opportunity to get to know these people from the point of view of their kids, and I think it just can add to the emotions. I want to see more.
The check-ins, I think,
Yeah.
are cute. The like, this is what I did today, and this is, and hearing the kids, Charles' daughter be like, you sound like you're just having so much fun, and like that makes me so happy.
Oh my God, it's so great. Who do we think after 2 weeks is a Joan potential candidate, and then who do we like for our next future Golden Bachelor after 2 weeks?
Mm.
I mean, I said it last episode. Dan is like, I love Dan so
Which
much.
one's
Him
Dan?
After the
opening up
talent
about
show?
his
The ribbons.
him
Yeah.
opening up about his health issues and
His
all the-
tremors.
I love him so much.
He was also the one with the floral book about it.
No.
That's
That was
different.
Michael.
Does Michael?
Okay.
He's eliminated.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
But he's still positive about finding love. That's what he said when he
There
left.
we go. All right.
I think Kim is the villain, the ship person, because after the talent show, he was the only person that they gave kind of like a negative, like,
The
I have
captain.
to I have to fight for my time for Joan, like at the end of the day.
Which one's him?
He's the one that wrote the song.
The Navy veteran
Oh.
guy.
Yeah.
You think he's gonna be the villain?
I think they kind of gave him a little bit.
No, come
don't
on.
think
Can't
so?
make a veteran a
They
villain.
made-
the Navy
No,
captain.
No, I know. But they made him seem jealous of Dan, and they gave Dan like the wholesome like approach. So it's like
Did they put some some suspenseful music behind
Yeah, well,
Kim and
something?
it
There's a
made you
little
think-
bit of a
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna have some drama,
Yeah.
but like unlike, I think, the flagship show where they'll take a grain of nothing and turn it in to seemingly like two people hating each other on the show. I don't think they're gonna lean in, because honestly,
I hope they don't.
when he sat down with Joan and talked about his wife passing and the letter that his wife wrote to his newly born grandchild, I mean, God, I was just a mess. So yeah, I don't know if you can't make a Navy captain.
Look, just stating what I saw.
I don't really think, honestly, they're going to be any villains. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Last
shouldn't be. I hope
last
not.
season, it was more they showed drama as opposed to painting someone as a villain. So it just feels icky if they have a villain, unless it's well deserved. Unless I'm really shows up being an asshole. I don't want to see any of these men painted in a way that they will often paint someone unfairly on their flagship show. I'm impressed with Kelsey's dad.
Yeah.
He's got Riz.
And I say this because I think, we saw this with Matt James's mom, and this is not a slight. It's like, I think a lot of people think that if you have a relative or an inside track and they get on the show, that somehow they're going to do better than others because of the connection. And I think this does speak to the authenticity of the show. It's just like, this is a bizarre fucking atmosphere for anyone who goes in. And it is still a TV show. Right. And it wouldn't be surprising for anyone to just kind of show up to this atmosphere and just decide, I don't know if this is for me, or for the lead to just maybe not have a connection. Right. And so I'm impressed with Kelsey's dad, because clearly he is leaning into this experience. He's embracing the whatever odd feelings he's obviously experienced. And I love that he's going for it, because it's not a given that just because he is Kelsey's dad and has the opportunity to get on, that he would be able to embrace the insanity that is this experience, and he's doing quite well. I think he's got to be the front runner for the next Golden Bachelor, and it will come down to, is he wanting and capable of playing the role of the lead? Whatever you thought of old Gary, he certainly played the role very well. He knew how to perform and that is a part of the job. It really is. Like you have to be able to recognize that this is a TV show. And I've been impressed with Kelsey's dad, because I think we're all kind of rooting for him to potentially be the next Golden Bachelor. It requires a certain mindset and ability to fill that role. And I think so far, so good. So I'm excited for him.
Why can't Pascal do his own laundry?
Because he can pay someone to.
I think it sounds like
I love him.
I think he's like clearly he's a bachelor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gucci, the Hermes.
Yeah,
That's the truest sense of the
He's the
truest
truest bachelor, and he's been a kind of a single guy who's just been like, I can afford to pay someone to do my laundry, which is like
Relatable.
Relatable for you.
The only reason that, like,
But you know how to do your laundry.
sure, but
You're
as
like-
soon as I could afford to not,
I will.
I was like, I'm never gonna do laundry.
But you're like you're brilliant with stains. Like if there's any sort of
Talent.
stain, you like can immediately get it out.
Because my mom taught me that you put Dawn dish soap on any stain
Yeah.
and immediately put it in the laundry. I also know how to iron like a motherfucker, which I don't mind ironing. But it's the laundry and the folding I will not ever do. And
Pascal's got to figure it
Pascal is
out.
just like, I don't fucking do this shit. And I love that he hired, who did he hire? I
Is
really
it
like
Greg?
the snorer.
To do his laundry.
Yeah, it's the same guy who has the sleep apnea. Which, please get that checked out. Greg, if you're out there, the ex-university professor, get that checked out, man. It's a death sentence waiting to happen. I'm not to be morbid here, but
A
like
little.
that's fucking. But he's laughing about something that's a very life sentence. Like people die from this shit.
Wow, what
not
about a
It's
damper
a
on our
call to
Golden
action,
Bachelor?
Nick. It's good.
It's a call to action. I'm just like, if you're out there, you know someone who's like in their sleep, you need to go see a sleep specialist.
You could save someone's life.
Seriously, it's
Okay, so not to deviate from the sleep apnea conversation, but going back to Pascal, I'm actually very ready for him to go. Like I'm not a fan. I just like I don't know. It's like a
Wow.
kitschy thing, and I don't believe the connection between them. It's like he was fun while it lasted, and now I think he can maybe
Really?
go the next.
I
He is
agree.
kitschy.
I see what you're saying. He's clearly not Joan's person. It's kind of like how April wasn't Gary's person, but like April was great comic relief. I don't mind it. I mean, I agree with you in the sense that like Pascal presents as someone who like hasn't been interested in love yet and might not ever be because he's out there just being a bachelor. But I don't mind seeing different lifestyles of older men.
Mhm.
I feel like we can rely more on Charles L for the comedic relief than we can Pascal.
Well,
Sure.
I agree.
but then
with-
they got rid of Jack,
I miss Jack. Like
They got rid of
Jack.
Jack.
Yeah, we
who was the comic relief.
But Jack also like at that
You were
some
right.
of the men were like he's like
You
all he
said
wants
it.
to do is swim.
You said it the last time. You're like, I feel like he's here for a good time.
Yeah.
And very much so.
What
Yeah,
are you?
I was also ready for him to go as well. So I was okay with that. But I think Pascal was good casting because it's like, who doesn't want the hot, like Parisian man? It's like, her Carrie Bradshaw, like, Baryshnikov moment.
Yes.
Like it's good, but now it's run its course and it's like, okay, they're not gonna end up together.
Yeah.
And I'm so with you, Natalie. Charles is just everything.
Like
And
him saying he's the oldest and he's like, but I'm clearly like the healthiest. It's like, I love
know.
him.
He's
No.
the star. He is the breakout
is.
star.
He
I,
is.
I would watch Charles as the next Bachelor.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if that man could find love again, I only want him to be the Bachelor if their top priority is him finding real love and not
Yeah.
making a TV show. And I get it. Their top priority is always making a TV show and their lead finding love is a close second, but it's definitely not their top priority. And I only want Charles to be the Bachelor if they are truly committed to finding this man a genuine connection, because he is so deserving of it. Not that any of the other men are less deserving, but like I want that man to find. Charles is leaning into his loneliness, and it's sad, He's so content, but in a way, but it's like, yeah, he's the way he leans into that loneliness it makes me want him to find love more than I guess maybe anyone else a little bit more. I don't know.
That scene that you brought up, Nick, of him sitting on the bleachers, I was like, oh my God, like my heart was breaking. And then, when he was dancing, it like brought life back to all of us.
I just find it so vulnerable when anyone can acknowledge their loneliness. I think it's a very scary, to say you're lonely. I think people have a hard time admitting because I think they're afraid of what it might imply in a way.
Embarrassment. Yeah.
Embarrassment. And I think that's such a vulnerable thing to put out there.
Well, it's also like so sentimental too. Like with was it Gary, the one that she gave the prom picture to, and he was just so like the fact that she put the thought into like giving me this, where it's just like somebody hasn't been that kind to you or like has made you feel that way in so long, and it's just such like a precious thing to watch. Like, you know what I mean? Those like emotions like flooding back to them and being like, wait, this is what it feels like to be like loved and cared for, and I don't know, it tears me up.
Totally. Well, Elizabeth, we really appreciate you taking the time. It's so much fun to talk Bachelor with you, as well as get your insight on all the things that you're doing over on CNN. Can you let my audience know where they can find you, follow you, and just follow the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. So all of my socials are at @Wagmeister, and then watch CNN, read CNN, follow CNN. Yeah, that's where you'll find me.
All right. Appreciate you, Elizabeth.
And Nick, I'm gonna leave you guys with one little fun hot tip. So the prom scene in Golden Bachelor, that was actually filmed at my high school.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Was there any involvement that you had? Did you make an introduction, or is that just a complete coincidence?
No, complete coincidence. But they didn't show the name of it, but obviously I recognize it. So that's Calabasas High School. I'm born and raised. I was in Calabasas long before the Kardashians. And my family moved there in the 90s. But as you know, Nick, Bachelor films, it's technically Agora, which is like near Malibu, and Calabasas is right near there. So that would have been one of the closest high schools. And I'm sure that, that's why they did it. But yeah, it's a public high school. They made some changes to the front, so I had to like pause and rewind. But yeah, that's at Calabasas High School. So shout out to
that's amazing. That was such a weird thing to see. My high school.
That's so weird.
On The Bachelor. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Elizabeth, we thank you again for taking the time. Look forward to you coming on again, and we'll talk later.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, up next, Mary Bonnet from Selling Sunset. If you're a pet parent like me, you know about Chewy, and when they say they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, well, they are not messing around. To keep it happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands my pet loves at prices I love. Food, treats, beds, you name it, they have it, and it gets shipped directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. And it's not just for dogs and cats, birds, fish, reptiles, and more. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and is even rolling out vet clinics across the country. That is what I love most about Chewy. Steve, we love him, but every once in a while he eats something he shouldn't. And it's great to have Chewy and have those telehealth visits just a call away. It saves us a lot of money, because before that, we were like panicking and going to late night animal hospitals or whatever. They charge an arm and a leg. But we've been able to avoid that with just a quick call for us to say, yeah, he's going to be okay. We love their auto ship feature because they send us the products we need. We don't have to worry about it, and we can stop it at any time and customize it when we need. Chewy also has a top-tier 24/7 customer service team that really makes it great to work with them. Also, Chewy's 100% satisfaction guarantee lets me return it within a year, no questions asked, and you can't beat that. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet healthy and happy, and right now you can save $20 off your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com/VIALL. Again, that's Chewy, CHEWY.com/VIALL. That's chewy.com/VIALL to receive $20 off your first order and free shipping. Chewy.com/VIALL. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. Quince! You can get items at prices that are amazing. We also love working with Quince because they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Man, woman, doesn't matter. Shopping for yourself, shopping for your loved one, Quince has it all. Natalie and I both love our Mongolian cashmere sweaters. Their organic cotton stretch chino, I love it. All their colors, they are absolutely great. The man in your life will love them as well. If you're looking to mix up your fashion, go to Quince. They have some amazing items, high-quality items that last for a price that everyone could afford. They also have amazing t-shirts and some of your basic wardrobe items that are must-haves. So check out Quince. If you're looking to get a little bit more in your closet, Quince is the perfect stop to do that. Upgrade your wardrobe with pieces made to last with Quince. Go to quince.com/VIALL for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/VIALL to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/VIALL. Mary, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I feel like this is your third time on.
It is.
We love having you.
Well, thank you for having me. I love being on it.
How you been?
I've been good. I've been busy.
You have been.
Yeah.
Variety's one of Variety's 40 most powerful women on reality TV.
I did not know that. Did I?
You didn't?
Did I?
Well,
Did I know that? Oh, I knew that.
I was actually at the event. Yeah, that's where
Oh, wait. Yes, that was a while ago.
That was
yes. Yes. Okay.
But still, we're in the same year.
That's how busy I've been.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't even realize it was one of the most powerful women.
Is that me?
I did not mean it that way. That's it's a
iconic.
huge honor.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
a huge, huge honor.
But what I loved about it is because it gives a lot of credibility to the space that I think has often been fighting for it. You know, let's be real. Like when it comes to reality TV stars, I think they're often seen as like a tier below other celebrities, if you will. You know, it's like I think reality TV stars have to justify or feel the need to justify their relevancy. But you know, the good people at Variety, which is one of Hollywood's most credible entertainment magazines, to give that credibility to that space, I thought it was a really cool event, and I hope they continue down that path.
I do too. That is an honor. Like it really is. Like when I was nominated for that and I got to show up there, be on stage, it was just like it's always surreal. You know, it's like you get invited to these things and it's just like magical. Like in a moment you're like, how in the world did this happen? Like I was just sitting there selling homes. Like it's like no one knew who I was. And actually that's the thing. Like it was a running joke. Nobody knew who I was. Even when they met me like 10 times, they would forget. And they're like, oh, nice to meet you. Hey, Jay, what's up? Hey, Romaine. Hi, nice to meet you. I was like, you've literally met my husband once, and I've met you like 100 times. I was like, and no one remembered me until the show. So it's always just cool and mind-boggling to me too, where I'm like, yeah, you didn't remember me before, and now you do.
But Variety does.
Variety does, and that's what matters.
Yes.
Well, you have a new book. Is this your first book you wrote?
It is my first book, and it just came out yesterday.
Selling Sunshine, available now?
Available now.
Tell me about it.
So everybody knows like a basic kind of thing of my life from the show. Like I'm a single mom, a teenage mom, and that's about it. Have a young husband, and that's about it. But
how old is Romaine?
Oh, don't put me on the spot. He's I always forget. He's like
32.
30. Oh, thank you.
Wait, you don't know?
Oh my God, thank you.
I love that.
That is so bad.
I kind of love that you don't know.
That is so bad. Oh my God. I did it the other day and I was like, wait, 31, 32? And then I'm like, shit, I can't remember which one he said. I'm like, I can't remember. I know he was 24 when I met him. I know that because that was like, is this legal? I don't know. Like I thought maybe I could go to jail.
Socially legal, you mean? Like...
Yeah. Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, I was just like, I'm that much older. Is that allowed? I don't know. He's really close to my son's age, but
how
and
close?
Look at you now.
How's your son?
Just not too far off. 27.
Damn, that's a flex.
Yeah,
how's your
that is a
son
flex.
feel about that?
He's cool with it.
Are they friends?
Yeah.
Do they play video games together?
No,
Oh my God,
no, but I'm
Nick.
sure Austin would love to. I know that's so mean. But no, Romaine's not a video game player, but I'm sure my son would love to. But they do actually. They do kind of. They have this. Jason has a sim car thing, like a Formula One sim car that he paid like a stupid amount of money for. Like it was
They're crazy.
a couple $100,000 for this stupid thing. And so he gets in, it's like an actual car, and he has it in his house, and you get in, you drive it. And so they all go over there every time Austin's in town. They go over and they all practice race car driving together.
I think it's such a flex that you have a 27-year-old son.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's, I think men historically have, if they've gotten married young or had kids, and if that relationship didn't work out and they start dating again, it's not too surprising to have them find out that they're dating someone younger, maybe close in age, and I just feel like it's such a flex for you to do that. And
Women can do it too.
I think it's
Hell
great.
yeah.
I mean,
And you guys look good doing it.
thank you.
I don't think anyone would ever guess that you have a 27-year-old son.
No, it's hard for me.
I think
to
a lot of people would
believe.
guess that you're 27.
I
Period.
don't feel much older than that. I mean, I'm like, I feel at a certain age, you just feel like you're more mature, you're more experienced, but I'm like, I don't feel 44.
Yeah.
I'm like, I still feel like really young. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with it, even if it's not.
I feel mostly young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're probably tired. You got they're a new baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, I
That's
gotta
true.
say,
That makes you tired.
It
it
does.
It has not made me tired.
Really?
No.
You're
No.
special.
It's made me tired. It's made me tired.
I was really
But
tired.
don't get me wrong. But it just overall, it gives me energy. To be
Happiness,
honest.
and
Yeah,
then
there's
that's
a-
really cool to
There's a
hear.
motivating factor element. I'm not trying to sound like, oh my God, but like I guess overall,
Well, I can't say I had that experience with my son's dad.
Well, how old were you when you had Austin?
16. I
Wow.
was 15 when I got pregnant.
Wow.
16 when I had him.
Wow. And was that recently? Did that recently come out on the show? Or did people know about this?
I mentioned it. I think like once. I don't really talk about my past that much. I did mention it. I think I can't remember. I was with Amanda and Chriselle or
Yeah.
something, and I mentioned it in passing. But I haven't really dove into that because I don't know how production and editors are going to like
sure.
like cut it and change it and stuff like that. I mean, they normally do a really good job of keeping the storylines like what really happens, but that's my story and it's sensitive, and so I don't want it to be switched up where that's
Totally.
going to come back on my son and he's like what?
That's not what you said. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you find that production when it comes to those types of conversations? I mean, maybe you kind of already answered that question, but you would think that they would be willing to hear you out to say, hey, I'm open to talking about this aspect, but I would like some type of promises or guarantees. Are they ever interested in doing that? Or I would think that, when it comes to kids, I would think it's such a sensitivity or a fine line, to want to share that
Yeah.
aspect of your life. But I completely understand where you're coming from. Where it's just like, all right, you can fuck with my edit, and I understand what I
Right.
signed up for,
Don't-
and
d-
yada yada. But
don't
like when
fuck
it
with my
comes,
kid.
yeah, don't
Yeah.
fuck with my kid.
Yeah.
And I would think that if a show wants, their
Right.
stars to be willing to bring in
Mhm.
those other aspects, there would be a level of understanding. But do you feel like there is?
I think with me, they probably would do that, and I think getting ready to film season 9, I think that they will be open to doing that because I just haven't opened up as much because of that. But they did figure it out. That actually there was a couple of seasons ago when I broke down in the Sprinter van, on the way when we
Mhm.
were that crazy Palm Springs trip.
Mhm.
It was actually, I was freaking out because they were heading to a club, and I do not go to clubs without my husband or without something like that. And I didn't tell them that because I hadn't talked about the rape to them. I hadn't talked about anything, which is in the book and explains everything. And I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going. And they were like, yes, everybody's going. And I was like, I just started having a panic attack. And they didn't understand. Then finally, one of the producers was like, hang on, this is not a normal reaction.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't.
Having a panic attack,
Yeah, but
yeah.
it looked like I couldn't handle the girls. And so I broke down at the end, and that's what it looked like.
Right.
But that's not what it was. It was actually just a PTSD
Triggered,
thing.
yeah.
From that. And so they are sensitive to things like that once they know. And
Sure.
so now I told him I'll talk about everything on the show now, but I was like, I'm gonna get my story out there the right way, where it's not like, oh yeah, well we had to cut it because the other girls are this happened, and so they cut it and it didn't tell the story. It didn't get key facts where it could hurt somebody else or it could change what the story actually was. So I wanted to make sure I got my story out there first to help people before they cut and chop it.
Yeah. Was that what inspired you to write the book?
Kind of, yeah. A couple things. I have severe ADHD, and when I opened up about that, people were very, very thankful, and they said how much it helped them that they felt like they weren't the freak out there, because it makes you feel awkward.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then I've got IBS, and I knew a bunch of people have that, so I opened up about that too. And my husband's like, great. I was like, I know, sexy, right? I'm like, well, you signed a paper, so I'm
Hot
sorry.
girls have IBS.
Right?
okay.
I'm like, it's a common thing. So I thought, you know what? It's life and whatever.
What are you most proud of this book, and what surprises, if any, can your audience expect by reading it?
I think most of my audience thinks that I've just always been successful, and I've had this great life, and oh yeah, she had a baby young and she made it. oh my God, they couldn't be further from the truth. Like my life has gone up and down, up and down. I've had something great and then lost it, and then up and down. And that is life. Most people go through that. And most people go through these hurdles that you feel like you're never going to get through, but you do. And so I wrote it because, first of all, it helped like with fertility and with sexual abuse and domestic violence and all these different things I've been through. I feel like if they see like how I got through or what kind of helped me, the mindset, and then see, I didn't think I was going to be here either, but keep powering through.
Yeah.
And I think it'll surprise people how much I've actually gone through. My life's not been perfect. And so wherever they're at, they can just keep going. They can do it too.
You're an extremely powerful example of that, because I'm like, look at you now. So
Oh,
I'm like, yeah.
thank you.
No, yeah.
Well, I think anybody's capable of it. I mean, there's luck that comes into it too, like with the show, but anybody's capable of it. You just have to, it's a mindset, really. Like you have to just,
Keep
can you change it?
persevering.
No. So do what you can, make the best of it, see the positive, and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can
you
we
do.
ask you some Selling Sunset questions?
Absolutely.
Sierra, you're up.
I'm so excited.
All right. Well, I've got a couple like just random questions, and then I've also got like storyline stuff. How is the progress of the new Oppenheim offices coming along?
Oh, it's well, our LA office is done, and it's absolutely stunning. I mean, Jason, as usual, just completely goes
Above and beyond.
oh my God, it is so ridiculous. But it's a lot of fun in there.
Did you get all the features? The pool table, the
Oh, yeah.
arcade?
Oh yeah,
Seriously?
yeah.
So are
Wow.
we closing down Sunset?
It's right
Are
next
we-
door.
It's right next door.
Yeah.
But because I know, I mean, I see all the papers on it's like, don't get too close
yeah.
to the windows. Don't because I can imagine that's a tourist hotspot.
I think we have to put up a little patio thing outside, like where we can walk in and out and stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually really distracting. We love the fans and we want to be able to go interact, but I work from home now because again, my ADHD. I cannot focus
Right, I
like
bet.
with everybody coming up because I want to go engage. I want to say hi. And a lot of people come from like Australia and all these places, and I'm like, oh, and so I go
Yeah.
out, but it's like that's my whole day. Like I can't
Impromptu
get any
meet and
work
greet?
done. So we're gonna put something up around it now that blocks it because we also have the tour buses that go by every couple minutes too.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
Yeah. It gets pretty crazy.
A big topic of conversation this season, the fashion has been upped.
Yeah.
Upped.
I saw a picture of, I think it was Emma, and I don't know who else was in it, but it was like they're at a coffee shop, and it was like the
like full
craziest
bouffant.
outfits.
Yeah. I think it's fun. Obviously we don't always go to work like
I was gonna say,
that.
do you hype it up for the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we all still dress cute all the time, but I think it's just, when we're filming, it's fun and the fans are looking for it. So it's like, I mean, a lot of times I would be in jeans and heels and a blazer or something, but on the show it's like, come on, okay, we can
love your power.
Let's do a little something.
Oh,
Did it
thank
happen
you.
organically, or was there ever like a conversation between the ladies being like, why don't we just also turn this into like a high fashion
Well, I
show?
feel like Christine was like the start of just wearing crazy.
She probably was.
stuff,
She
right? I
she
mean, like-
probably was the start of it. Yeah. I mean, I think we all in season 1, I don't think we realized what the show was gonna be. We thought it was real estate.
Yeah.
And so we're like, let's dress like we always do. And so then it started just getting elevated. It was just a natural thing. It just started getting elevated and I don't know.
Do you feel like there's kind of a little bit of like, not competition, but like, let's see who can kind of one up?
I think for some of the girls, I don't even remember what I wore the day before. So I'm like, I don't care. I wear what I think is cute and that's it. But I think for a lot of the girls, yeah, there's a little bit, but I think they're almost in competition with themselves more than each other.
That makes sense.
Like
yeah.
trying to just be like, have the better outfit than like last season
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But I think even Adam DeVillo, he's like, what is happening right now? And he's always like, no, do it up. And he's like, what are they wearing? He's like, that's like what? And like, so I mean, it might have gotten a little out of hand, but with like ball gowns to the office, I was like,
Okay.
is that?
Your commentary on Nicole's outfit for your Broker's Open, where she comes in like a bedazzled, beaded cape to the floor, and she was like, midday broker's office. Interesting.
It was beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
it was kind of like Chelsea's outfit at the broker's opener. I was like, you look really cute. Not really appropriate. Not really for this setting,
Right.
but yeah, whatever.
Speaking of Christine, I know she's been in the news not too long ago for some difficult experiences. Have any of you guys reached out? Has there been any contact whatsoever, or has the entire cast kind of completely moved on from her?
I don't know what the other cast members have done. I did reach out, and she didn't get the text, but I ran into her at an event, and so I talked to her, and I said that, I'm just sorry for what she's going through. I've been through domestic violence and stuff like that, and I get it. No one deserves it, and whether or not we are friends and hang out or talk, no one deserves that. And so I just wished her and her son the best, and to stay safe. And if she needed anything, let me know.
Do we know how she's doing lately, or she's...
Somebody talked to her, I guess, a couple months ago, and they said that they saw that she was, I don't know, doing some sort of a campaign or something. So it looks like she's doing okay. I don't really follow or anything, but yeah, I wouldn't wish that situation on anybody.
The Pioneer Town dinner. Nicole slips, kind of insinuates the idea that Emma is having an affair with a married man. The name Jen was said to try to remind you that you knew what she was talking about. Do you have any commentary on that? Is there truth to it? Can you say anything about it? Because I know some of the girls came to Emma's defense saying, or I think it was Chelsea, saying that it was complete bullshit.
Okay. There was an element of truth to where that came from.
Okay.
And Amanda and I were there. I had no idea what she was talking about because it was like not an issue. Like we heard it and I was like, oh, what? I don't know anything about that. But I think Jen said something like, and my memory's like shit. So, but it was something along the lines of, hey, do you like Emma? And I was like, yeah, I do. She's sweet. And she's like, oh, well, I heard like she was, like talking to my best friend's like husband. They just got separated and she was talking to him. And I was like, so that's what I was like, oh, I don't know anything about that.
Right.
That was it. And so, but it comes to, he was trying to buy a house because they separated and he was trying to get a house. And he did flirt with her from my understanding, but she shut it down. She's like, I have proof of that. I shut it down. She's like, no, you're cool. We can be friends. But and went back to this stuff. So this is my understanding. So Nicole didn't just make it up, but she exaggerated it like into something. And I don't, my heart hopes that she didn't do it intentionally. Maybe it just got exaggerated in her head.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you can't help but wonder if she did it for, I mean, with the TV element, we all know that, we love to, on reality TV, cast members make mountains out of, was it molehills?
Yeah. Mountains out of molehills. Yeah. But but that's why I would really, because she's a friend and I've always loved her and I do love her. I hope that wasn't the intention because you don't fuck with someone's life like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it does seem to happen a lot though with your cast.
It does. I've never done it. Just saying.
The least problematic of the cast.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
always
definitely
in
the
the
least
middle of it.
messiest.
I know,
for
right?
Sure.
Yeah, I do my best.
Have Chriselle and Nicole kind of
No.
See?
No.
And then we love Chriselle, but she's a little messy queen.
I think she did really well this season, though.
Yeah, she did.
Right?
Compared to last season, for sure.
I thought I actually texted her and I was like, girl, I think you did really well. Like you were like me.
Yeah,
I was
that's what it felt like.
Right? I was like, I was proud of you. This is like the you, like that everybody else gets to see. Like what I know, the really sweet, loving like part and a couple of seasons before. I'm like, well, honey, this is like, what's going on? I was like, what's happening? But yeah, I've always loved Kershaw. I know people always say that we don't get along and like, oh, it's so sad you aren't friends with her. You betrayed her. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. She was just at my book launch party last night. We're good. We've always been good. We just like, life. We grew apart.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was her. Like that. I wasn't there as much. Like when her and Jason broke up, but we've been okay. I think that got blown out of proportion. But her and Nicole and Emma and Nicole and Chelsea and Nicole and I think everybody and Nicole right now are not so great. But
And who's Brief in the cliques with? Like, who does she hang out with? Because if it's
I talk to her all the time.
so,
Yeah,
it seems like it was-
Amanda.
Yeah, but you talk
me.
to everyone, man.
I know I I mean, I know that answer is like every season. I'm like, I talk to everybody.
I love
do. Well, I don't love everybody, but I'm like, I'm good with everybody. Like, do your thing and don't hurt people. That's my rule.
Live and let live. Well, Mary, it's been so fun catching up with you. Congratulations on the new book.
Thank
the book
you.
is called Selling Sunshine.
Yep.
Selling
Sunshine.
Selling Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Yeah, it's tough for me to say.
Yeah.
Available wherever you get books. Audio.
Yeah. Audio is Audible.
For
It's
all you
at
dyslexic
Amazon.
people out there.
Did you
yeah,
did you do
Barnes
the
and
audio? Did you
I
read
did.
it?
Yeah.
Is that so hard?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
Did you do
Nick
it?
did
Oh my
it, yeah.
God.
It was
I-
so brutal.
There were times where I had to read one sentence. It took me 5 minutes to get through a sentence.
Yeah.
I had to really warm up. I'm dyslexic, so it was real embarrassing. I had to apologize constantly. Yeah, it was really humiliating for me, but I did it.
Yeah. And it's an accomplishment once you do it because my ADD too. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
my assistant actually called the people and they were like, so she might have to have like some breaks in between. And then I was like, sorry.
My book was maybe the first book I had actually started and finished in 20 some years. So-
Really? Congrats on
Yeah,
that.
no, I know. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes. Yours will be the second.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's good. I've had really great reviews.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you coming. Congratulations again.
Thank
and we wish you all
you.
the best, Mary.
Thank you.
Well-
Bye, guys.
Okay, it's time to get into Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm really proud of us, guys. I just want to say we really have been carrying season 5 of Salt Lake City, and it's
I think
really.
we need to be more cool about it.
You think so?
Yeah, I
think
think we need to be like,
It's just a podcast.
it's just,
It's
it literally
no big
happens all the
deal.
time. Like, who gives a fuck? You
Yeah,
know?
sure, for sure. All right, from this moment forward, we'll be cool about it.
We're cool.
We're cool.
Yeah, we're so cool.
Question for you, Justin.
Yes.
Obviously I'm newer to Salt Lake City, so I haven't really get into the fandom of seasons 1 through 3. But it seems like I'm almost surprised because it's a fan of the show. I'm just less of a Lisa fan, more of a Whitney fan. But it really seems like a lot of people give Whitney a really hard time in this franchise.
Yeah.
Like, what is that from? And they really seem to stan Lisa, which I'm glad she's got fans, but I'm just like...
What is there to hate about Whitney?
Yeah. I mean, the way that I see it, Lisa versus Whitney, is people love Lisa because, one, she's authentic in the sense of like, I'm going to drink and eat fast food at 24/7, not care about it, not know how to cook, love my husband, but also make my husband do everything. So she kind of presents as if like everything was authentic. And then season 2, she had a hot mic moment. She used to be best friends with Meredith, Lisa.
Okay.
And then towards the end of season 2, Lisa had this hot mic where you don't see her. She's in the bathroom, but she's like, she's a whore. She's fucked half of the Upper East Side of New York. Like, I hate Meredith and her fake family that poses. Like, she like said all these outrageous things about her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Meredith has even said like that could have canceled you, but that made you a star. So like from season 2, that hot mic moment, people are like, she's iconic. She's authentic. She'll say whatever she wants to say. On the contrary, Whitney, she has a higher pitched voice. And I say that because audience members say that she's like little. And then Mary Cosby coined the term little girl. So it's like, not only is she younger, but she has a higher pitched voice that's kind of squeaky at times. And she says like healing instead of healing. And then also on top of that, she's like the only cast member, or not only, but the one that uses her kind of storyline to be like, I'm healing, I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to mentally grow, versus everybody else is like, they think authenticity is attacking instead of like pulling back. Like that's how I see.
Okay. Thanks for breaking that down for us. Lisa doesn't read authentic to me. I mean, that's just one person's opinion, but like,
I think she does.
I mean, she's willing to talk shit, but just the whole...
No, I think she very much owns that she is loud and she is, like I feel like she's definitely authentic.
Yeah, I think so.
I think with Whitney, though, the thing is that like Whitney does her job. Okay. And so like she does bring up the dramas, the things that we're talking about, whereas like all of the rumors about Mary Cosby, nobody would go up against Mary Cosby. Whitney's the one that says it on camera and like opens it up. So it's like, I think people got upset with her thinking that she's always stirring the pot when she's actually giving you content and asking the questions that we want to talk about. Lisa is fun. Lisa's a character. Lisa's somebody that you can dress up as a Halloween costume and people would get it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why people love Lisa. Nobody knows anything about Lisa besides what she chooses to share. And then Whitney's like, here's all of me. And I think that also sometimes rubs people the wrong way.
I guess that's the way you just said it. Like, I think Lisa knows how to present as authentic, but I think she's far more calculated than I guess maybe some of her fans think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mary to me is authentic. And the fact that like, she's not planning on saying something. It just comes out of her mouth, where I just feel like Lisa is very intentional, other than maybe the hot mic moment, which really isn't even her doing. It's more of she's in a bathroom, not planning on her stuff being recorded. And again, maybe she planned that as well. I don't know. But I don't know. I just
I think it's like Heather with the receipts, screenshots, timelines, that whole thing of it all. Like that's made Heather a star.
Yeah.
So I think Lisa had that moment, and like now whatever Lisa does, she has like a whole fan base of reality TV fans like behind her.
okay.
Whereas
Yeah.
Whitney hasn't had that moment yet.
And she's got a cute little like nickname, so we all call her Baby
Baby
Gorgeous. That she made up
Gorgeous.
herself. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like she's very much told us who she is as a character, and then you just subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Versus Whitney's like, well, here's what I'm dealing with, and this is how I feel, and this is how somebody else made me feel. But I think she's shining this season, in my opinion.
Whitney?
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that Whitney is incredibly vulnerable in a way that a lot of people don't appreciate because it's messy and it's not perfect.
Mhm.
And I think that Lisa is, in her own way, very standoffish to that amount of vulnerability because she is not good at being vulnerable in that way. I mean, you
Mhm.
saw it last season when like Whitney was like dealing with the devastating loss of her friend, and then Lisa just like does not know how to handle any situation that isn't like either fun, jokey, or like about herself.
Like when she was talking to Angie, and then she was talking about how like Angie just doesn't understand her or whatever, and she was basically saying, if you would just agree with me,
Yeah.
we would
Yeah.
get along. You know, like okay,
course.
I guess. I don't know.
No, totally. And I think that's why she kind of has an issue with Whitney, or just like anybody who speaks out against her, or like, because that's what she says. It's, you're talking about feelings, not facts, but at the same time, her feelings are still valid. Just because you don't agree with what's being said about your character based off of how you feel about yourself doesn't mean that you didn't make somebody else feel a certain type of way. But Lisa, instead of doing what she wants Angie to do, is to listen and accept what I'm saying and agree with it, she says, no, I didn't do that to you, and that's all your fault. So, you know, she's not very open to criticisms or, you know, being open
No.
to fixing issues.
She's impossible to have like a true dialogue with because it's like it's very Sheena Shea. It's very much like, how is this affecting Lisa Barlow
Mhm.
versus like, can you just be a good friend?
I
For a
will
second.
say, like the first interaction I ever had with the housewife was Lisa Barlow, and she was sweet. So like outside of the show, she is like a genuine like,
yeah.
person. So I
Yeah.
think it's just her character that's like,
Yeah.
I would love to meet Lisa. She's probably a little mad at us.
yeah.
We are the podcast.
I did notice something too for the Salt Lake City fans, that every time someone throws a glass on the ground, they leave the show, either the next season or the season after. So Jenny did it, gone. Also, she was problematic. Jen Shaw did it, gone. Also problematic. Lisa did it last episode. Not saying she's problematic, but I'm like, canon of Salt Lake City is
Mm.
you throw the glass, you're out,
Hmm.
and you're the villain.
Interesting that's like they'd kick him out over. That's
Well,
like what we love about Housewives.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
own.
Oh.
That's his own theory.
That's my own theory, but
What if Lisa just really like just becomes a full ad partner for Wendy's? What if she becomes Wendy?
which she did in this episode.
Yeah, nice little product placement. I'm a little disappointed they didn't showcase the Frosties because
Yeah.
that's definitely the best thing in the menu.
I will say they did their job. It made me want Wendy's.
Yeah. I mean, I always want Wendy's. Why are Frosties?
She's not the Frosty, she's the Coke.
Which, thanks to our Real Housewives of Mormon Wives girlies, we now understand why Lisa drinks so much soda.
Yeah.
Real Housewives of Mormon Wives.
Whatever.
Same thing.
It's too much Salt Lake
A
City.
lot of Mormonism.
I really want to go to Salt Lake now.
They just announced another selling Mormon houses, whatever the
Yep.
title is, but there's a new Bravo show for selling, essentially selling sunsets, but in Salt Lake City.
Do you think we'll see any of Meredith's past rentals?
Probably.
Probably her current one.
I gotta say, I've been pleasantly surprised with the new Housewives.
Okay.
Okay.
Say more.
I don't know. I just feel like it's only been 2 episodes, but I'm interested.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we knew that, you know, they had to replace Monica. Those are big shoes to fill, regardless of what you think of Monica. And I'm just intrigued, you know, for 2 episodes in to new characters to even, you know, give a shit
Yeah.
is still something.
We know their names. Like, I think that's always a big thing when there's
Yeah.
new characters added. You're like, no, the one that wore the thing.
Well, I'm still,
Braun and Brittany.
see, Brittany is the name I'm still quite forgetting. But
She's making herself known.
she really,
Yeah.
she popped off this episode and she stood up to Mary.
Mary coming after Brittany for how she's mothering her children is so incredibly low. And I think like motherhood is like your toxic ex-boyfriend. Like when it's good, it's so good. And when it's bad, it's so fucking cruel. And like motherhood is a group of women who have all been through, you know, similar experiences. You relate to each other. You know what each other have been through. You know, you feel like you're the only person in the world who has been through this or has, you know, their child is doing this. And then you talk to another mother and they're like, oh my gosh, I went through the same thing. It makes you feel not alone. And it's so empowering. It's so safe. It's so like, You can lean on other mothers. It's such a community. And then when it's bad, it is so cruel and scary. And they make you feel like scum on the bottom of a shoe and that you are like the worst mother on the planet. And it's just really scary that it's two polar opposites. And it's usually the scary end that is more common. And so I feel like for Mary to throw her trauma onto Brittany, like what Mary went through as a child is terrible. It is devastating. That is trauma. And I do hope she can eventually heal from that. But to throw that onto Brittany and like accuse her of doing what her mother did to her, it's like, that's fucked up. You can't do that.
It's definitely harsh. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I appreciate Mary at least giving us the context of where it was coming from.
Yeah.
Because at least I could understand it rather than it just feeling like a dig.
But she didn't give any of the women that context. She gave it to us in ITM.
Sure.
So for all the other women and for Brittany, it just felt like an attack on Brittany's mothering, which is fucked up.
It's kind of reminding me of Emily and Jen from Orange County this past season, or this season going on right now too, where it was like Emily was triggered by Jen, so therefore is attacking Jen, but it's like, no, your issues with your mom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucked up, but there are bad parents out there. There's a lot of parents out there who choose themselves over their kids all the time.
Which Brittany did admit to this episode playing pickleball with Heather. She's like, listen, I definitely am guilty of sacrificing my kids for a man's affection. So I'm like, it's also not something that she's not aware of, but at the same time, yes, I think having somebody else state in a group of women that you're a bad mom or insinuate in that type of way, like that, it's not fair either.
I can understand why anyone would be insanely triggered by criticism about in their parenting styles, justified or not.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just, that's going to be an incredibly sensitive topic. On the flip end, when you introduce your kids into the storyline or just you as a parent, it just might bring in criticisms about your parenting styles, which again, there's a lot of parenting choices that people don't subscribe to. It's a very sensitive, there's a huge spectrum.
For me, it just feels like I'm not in a position to judge Brittany for her choices. It's like, I think her sacrificing her children for male attention stems from something deeper.
Yeah.
And maybe she's aware of that. Maybe she's not. Maybe that's something we'll learn in the future. It did seem like she was like, I have a story to tell and like, I'm not comfortable currently sharing that, but I have been through a lot. And so I think for people to quickly judge and call her a bad mom and you know, I just feel like it's icky.
I mean, out of the gates, it's harsh to be in your second episode and to have your parenting be your main storyline at this point is harsh.
To be fair, I'm like, because we don't even, all we got from her was that her two daughters don't speak to her, but like, we don't know what the context of that is about. So I don't know. It's one of those things too, where I'm like, I don't know, trying to get overly comfortable in a situation where you don't know people, and especially somebody as temperamental, let's say, as Mary, it's like, I also don't feel like this was the safe space for you to share this and feel like you were going to get comforted in any type of way. Does that make sense?
It felt to me like she like dipped her toe in the water to see like, is this a safe place? And it was like, let me just share like a little glimpse of my life. And for Mary to immediately backfire, it's like, yeah, no, I was right. Like you just said, like this is not the place where I want to tell you anything about me.
I mean, Mary offered her no grace. That's for sure.
Neither did Bronwyn. Fuck Bronwyn. She's sitting there being like, ever since you've come into this group, you're chaotic and unhinged. It's like, what the fuck? Like
she's a little mean girlish.
Mean girl.
I
mean
like
girl.
Bronwyn's aesthetic, but I'm like, just her. I like it.
I like it.
She's giving like rich. I know what actual art is. I'm gonna put it in my house.
It's also very The Nanny.
I mean, listen, who am I to have aesthetic opinions? But her house gives like young tech billionaire. Like
it gives David Dobrik.
Yeah,
and Logan Paul, Jake
like
Paul.
if Logan Paul like decorated a house, that's how her house seems decorated.
But hers is like intentional.
Yeah,
like you can tell those art pieces are like art pieces.
You don't think Logan Paul or David Dobrik like, intentionally decorate their house?
That looks cool. I'll put it in.
She has a stack of chairs with light down the middle. David Dobrik. We have been to his house. He has a Lego, it's all made out of Lego framed like banana. And it's like, where's the difference?
Can I give you a history lesson?
Please.
So there's this art movement, Dadaism. Essentially what came out of that was ready-mades type of art where you basically grab something and you say, this is art. So for example, Marcel Duchamp had a urinal. He put his signature on it, a fake signature, and said, this is art. So the stack of chairs is, to me, looks like an homage to Duchamp or like Dadaism. where it's like no matter what an artist claims to be art, just them claiming it to be art is empowering within itself. So kind of like a controlling your own aesthetic, controlling your own future.
Mhm.
So that's where like her, I'm like, okay, that's intentional. Like someone's not putting something like that without knowing like
Yeah.
art. So that's where I think she's more like of I'm rich enough to know also the history behind what I'm
Yeah, she
buying.
understands the history, and she also has like an amazing sense of humor about the art. Like it's
Yeah.
very much like she is completely aware of the aesthetic that she has created, and it's a vibe. It's
I
great.
do feel like her and Mary would get along because
100%.
but their
Yes.
houses
Yes.
are both crazy.
Yeah, I am obsessed with looking at both of them.
They should have a house off.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh, the ultimate MTV Cribs.
Wasn't
Yes.
Mary pissed off when Heather like made fun of her
Dr.
chairs?
Seuss
or
Yes,
something?
Dr.
Her
Seuss chairs.
Yeah.
That's when she called her inbred.
Oh no.
Yes.
That being said, Bronwyn is very out there. I'm with you on
Yeah.
that.
She is kind of presenting fake, I'm not gonna lie, where the two-faced comments where it's like, if you're gonna repeat what you said, repeat exactly what you said and don't try to make it like lesser than to whomever you're talking to that wasn't
Mhm.
present, where
Because the tone in which you said it to Lisa and Heather was bitchy. It was like I was sitting there with tears, and then when you say it to Whitney, it's like laughing and funny
Mhm.
and like a
Good for
joke and like
you.
empower. You said it in the mirror a couple times. Like
Yeah.
it was completely different, and I agree with you, Sierra.
I was a little confused at the end where Heather tried to call out Bronwyn, and it seemed like Heather wanted to have Whitney's back,
Yeah.
but Whitney was almost like having Bronwyn's back and almost turned it around back on Heather. I was a little confused by that, other than the fact that it does seem like if there is a producer pet in this cast, it really seems to be Heather.
Heather just said that the discrepancy of like you said, that you were laughing, crying, and
I
I,
agree
think
with
if she
Heather.
would have gone into more detail about like
Yeah.
the way she said it and kind of what else she said in the context, then I feel like Whitney probably would have been a little bit more pissed. But I think Whitney just thinks that that's how she said it to everyone, and that's
Mhm.
not
Also,
true.
Bronwyn kind of played dumb. So I
Mhm.
think like Heather coming out of nowhere and then Bronwyn being like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Lisa also
Mhm.
being like, well, like nothing. So then it's
Eh.
like Heather looks like the dumb one there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like Heather,
I understood
calling it
Heather's,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it seemed like Bronwyn was being a bit of a hypocrite and
Yeah.
playing both
Mhm.
sides. And
and then Lisa just quiet, where it's just like, you were there, girly. You started the conversation. She's like, I don't know, like
For once in her life, Lisa Barlow had nothing to say.
right.
and then Bronwyn's mad at Lisa for like saying that she was a little, what was the word? Like cocky or something. Like Lisa insinuated that Bronwyn was kind of like jabbing a little bit. Anyways.
I can't think of the word. I'm trying to think of the moment.
There's something about Bronwyn, though. As much as I'm very visually intrigued by her, I do feel like there is a potential. I don't know her that well yet. We have just met. That there could be something kind of very, very, very insidious about her. And it's based on the fact that all of her dogs are named out after House of Cards characters. Why?
And I do think Heather had a good read on like, I tend to not trust people when they have such a strong opinion on people they just met,
Mhm.
which I very much agree with. And she did seem to have in the car with Lisa and Heather a very strong opinion about Whitney. And then with Whitney, it was the complete opposite. So
yeah, the House of Cards one too. It's just like,
Like-
if you're familiar with House of Cards, it's just all about deception, lies,
Yeah.
and politics.
And a lot of other just like cultural implications of House of Cards in general. And also, I don't know how old her dogs are, but depending on the year in which he had the dogs, since like Kevin Spacey being the star of House of Cards, it's just an interesting show to name all of your dogs after.
something to note.
Nice
Something
catch.
that I'm not going to forget.
I do want to know more about her and her husband's relationship.
yeah.
'Cause-
I kind of like him.
Jason Osmond. Or is
No,
that the
no,
other one?
that's the other
Brittany?
one.
Brittany.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah.
he's the CEO.
He's
This
the,
is-
He was the one in the cute
ex-Palm
sweater.
Pilot CEO, which I don't know if he's been good with his money, but he's got to be stupid rich.
Yep.
That's
Mhm.
wealth.
Nick
right
asked me,
there.
he's like, what does he do? And I said, own things.
He did
He
say
just like
that.
owns a couple things.
Something like Son's husband. I don't know.
Yeah.
Couple
But he truly
teams.
was an OG tech
Yeah.
Because what?
executive.
Did Palm Pilot get sold to like BlackBerry? Probably?
Yeah, I
Something
think
like
so.
that?
I'm
You,
not sure.
I don't know.
But there was a time, and it sounds like it when he was running it, that
Mhm.
Palm Pilot was
The thing.
the iPhone
yeah.
of mobile devices back in the day. So he must be fucking loaded.
Rich.
What do you think of Melee? This is the other friend of that's Whitney's friend.
I feel like we didn't really
Yeah, I don't
meet
feel-
her.
She
I
hasn't
liked
had a
her
chance.
pigtails.
Other than
Yeah.
Mary's
were very
comment
chic.
about her,
Yeah.
which was
A little tone deaf. Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
That's-
Yeah, she seemed to speak up A little bit at the table with all the girls,
Yeah.
but
At the end, but I believe it was really. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, you're here.
oh yeah, that's all it was.
She also had the sis count of like how many times she said
20
sis.
times.
Impressive.
First of all, the ropes course, Mary did have me dying during that when she was just like up there and she's like, we all hate this, Lisa, shut up. Like, I could never do that.
I kind of like Mary's tone deafness.
I kind of do too.
You
I
have
like-
to respect it.
It's zany.
I don't know if
agree.
I respect it because it can be tone deaf, but it's more like she has the guts to say it. She doesn't give a fuck. Agree or disagree with her, you truly know how Mary feels.
Yes.
And it always seems like Mary's shooting from the hip.
She
Like,
is made for TV.
yeah.
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 And it is a breath of fresh air. And also, like, this does seem to be a new version of Mary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It seems more fun. She seems
Well,
like
again, like I'm basing this off of last season. She just really Mary seemed to be like household adjacent. Like she was part of the cast. She didn't really involve herself in the groups. It was always like all the housewives, and then it would be like a pan to Mary, kind of separate from whatever else was going on.
Right.
And now Mary is. I mean, hell, I just if I based everything I knew from season 4. I would have guessed that Mary wouldn't have done the ropes course.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'd have been like, there's no way she would have fucking done that.
Do we think she has to now because she's?
I have a theory.
Mm.
So Mary was on it season 1 through 2.
Mhm.
And basically there were storylines, and 3 she wasn't, right?
No,
No.
Three, she took a break, yeah.
She took a break.
So
yeah.
there were storylines attacking her church, her job, her money, her family, and then she disappeared because she was like, I don't want to be part of this. Like the reunion, she didn't really want to talk about it either.
Mhm.
Season 3, she took off. Season 4, they convinced her to come back as a friend. So my theory is that she was like, okay, I'm going to come back and be me, but like things are off limits. Like
Yeah.
nobody's attacked or talked about the storylines that she left off. Like it's completely a new Mary.
no fucks.
So I think that's why you're seeing her unhinged, because she's like, I know that I'm protected.
Yeah.
And
This
I
is
can do
all theory.
whatever.
This is all speculation.
I
I have no
also-
clue.
I think that Jen being gone, I think it's like I had a really hard time watching Mary when Jen was also there, because having two people in very, very completely different ways that are just like living in different planes of reality than everyone else.
Mary, yeah.
Yeah. And Jen as well, but in like a very, very sinister way. And I think like having both of them at the same time was just like too much. And by the end of season 2, I was just like, personally as a viewer, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And when Mary was gone, I was like, okay, now it's like just,
You need her back.
yeah. And then by the time the whole Jen stuff happened,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, can we have like kooky fun Mary again?
Because Mary's known,
And it was perfect.
she's known to have said problematic things pre
Yes.
like her return. Like there's a quote of her saying like, Jen scares me because she looks like a Mexican thug, and it's like Jen's not even Mexican, and that's
Mhm.
also like a harmful statement to say. So it's like she's known to say tone deaf stuff. Just this season, it's like blow after blow after blow,
Mhm.
like not holding back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything she says. Obviously, I wouldn't say most things she says, but
Yeah.
there is a level of like, holy shit, I can't believe she said that. That just brings something that
It
you
reads
know,
And
authenticity.
Yeah,
we need
to
it
me.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to like break up like the drama. Then all of a sudden you get a cut from like Mary talking about she won't eat something because it gives her gas. And it's like, well, okay, we're back, you know?
Or what, getting a yeast infection in from the tub.
Exactly. Like, I won't do that. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Meredith and Mary fall out.
Oh,
Mm.
Question. Is it a hard launch, soft launch, or no launch at all posting about your relationship at Costco and being called the best friend?
I really felt for
I
Brittany
did
there.
too.
I did
Yeah.
too.
I mean, say what you want. We obviously just talked about it. She's clearly someone who struggles with her relationship. And when she talks about her 16 breakups, I'm guessing he's broken up with her 16 times.
Right.
And for whatever reason, she has a hard time like standing up for herself or being her partner's equals, whatever it is. And I feel for her because she is reaching so bad for some kind of connection with her partner. And obviously it opens up a lot of criticism for how she handles herself in relationships, but it's a vulnerable thing. And it's like, I think it's easy to tease someone for treating that as a relationship watch, knowing that it's clearly not, with someone who's struggled. So it's just, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't. And I really felt for her.
It did seem really harsh. I mean, she did seem very excited.
It was a win for her.
It was a win for her, but I'm glad the girls told her the truth behind it, because I do feel like she
Mhm.
needed to hear that wasn't a launch, a hard launch on
A
Instagram.
Costco Instagram story.
With your
I
best
think
friend.
with
the
your
best friend.
is
Yeah.
That reads,
But-
if other women I'm hooking up with read this,
She's
It's
just
nothing
a friend.
she's
serious.
just a
Yeah.
friend. We
I'm
just went
still
to
available.
Yes.
He's also the nephew of Donnie and Marie Osmond, and aren't
Yup.
the Osmonds like royalty in the Mormon culture?
I believe so.
That's what they
Donnie
said,
and
yeah.
Marie,
Yeah.
musicians.
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actors, I think.
Yeah.
Childhood actor,
Yeah.
performers, Vegas residency type of
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very.
I'm surprised Brittany's just a friend of. So like
She is?
Oh,
she's a friend of, yeah. So
but
she's not a main
Bronwyn's-
housewife because she's not on the cover, the main
Oh,
sequence.
well,
Bronwyn is though.
Damn.
she seems like on her way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think so. So
Yeah. I'm really impressed and pleasantly surprised with how entertained I have been, with the absence of Monica, which was obviously the big question mark. But so far, so great. And next episode, they go to my hometown, Milwaukee. That's exciting. I didn't realize, I never expected Milwaukee to get a little love in Bravo Universe. And the bar apparently they go to, Trixie's bar, they're talking about, my sister Clark worked at. Fun fact.
Wow.
So, I don't know.
Amazing.
I'm curious to see what other Milwaukee landmarks we'll get to see next week.
You're like, instead of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, you're like 1 degree of Salt Lake City.
Yeah, very exciting
jealous.
stuff. Yeah,
And
we're really excited. Well, thank you guys for listening. It's been a jam-packed episode. Be sure to check out the podcast, the episode with Whitney Rose. If you haven't, that dropped yesterday. Thank you to Mary and Elizabeth Wagmeister for joining us this episode. We'll see you next week. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.